We are live. Everything is set up. Put this here, I guess. Okay. Make sure we get our image up. Looks good. Hello. Oh, did I move my camera? I totally did. There we go. All right, welcome. Hey, Smiles, how are you? Good morning. Good to see you. You can hear Jasmine in the background. Good morning. It's good to see you. So, how do you morally justify not being vegan? Not you, Smiles. I know that you're vegan. Animals are sentient, just like you. I have some resources I'll go over. I want everyone to check out these documentaries. Dominion is only 2 hours long. It goes over how we treat almost all animals. Obviously, there's still some missing in there, but there's other documentaries you can watch. Dominion is just really comprehensive for the most common animals we use. And then Dairy Scary is only 5 minutes. So that one's actually a really easy watch. It just shows you what's inherent in dairy. And then we have nutritionfacts.org. If you're worried about nutrition, you can just Google vegan Dailey Dozen and you'll find all sorts of options to eat to make sure you get everything you need in a day. Make sure I'm all plugged in here. Okay. So I want to know why you're not vegan, you know? If you still think it's okay to cause or to use animals, I want to know your justification. Hey, Ina, it's good to see you. Oh my gosh, I got all the awesome people here. Well, the fox is not what we call a moral agent. They're what we call a moral patient. They're just surviving their area. They may not have the capacity or the luxury of time and space to think about what's right and wrong and practice morality. They're just trying to survive every day. So they're still sentient, though. That means that they care what happens to them. So they still are considered morally. That's what a moral patient is. So even though they may not know what morality is and they may do things that are immoral, it doesn't give me the right to go do something else to somebody else. You got to be over 18. I'll bring you up Saint Moses.
Yo, it's good.
Are you over 18?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so how do you morally justify not being vegan?
Because I feel bad for the plants. I don't want to eat the plants and then not
I
eat the
mean, do you
meat.
want to have a serious conversation or are you just up here to
Okay,
be
I'm
stupid?
being for, I'm being for, I'm being for, I'm being for real. Because they're both living. I guess they're both living. So how I justify eating
I
one
mean,
over
you
the
could
other?
still be vegan if you genuinely cared about plant sentience.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because the animals you use eat way more plants.
For real.
Yeah.
And
We,
like they
we,
and like they are food. Like other animals eat them. Why can't I eat them?
because you're what we call a moral agent. You can weigh out what's right and wrong. And when you have that ability, that means you have a moral responsibility to act on what you think is right and not do what you think is wrong.
So, but like, so at that point, we're at to stop every. We're like, why am I? So I gotta stop myself from eating food, like eating meat. So why I stop animals from eating meat as well? Because like,
No,
the-
we're only talking
why,
about your actions.
why are animals? Why can't animals stop eating meat if I
I'll
can't stop
let you
eating
up
meat?
here for a little longer, but I just don't think that you're genuine.
I'm
Because
being
I
general.
just
'Cause listen,
explained this. I just
listen.
explained this.
Are we animals? Are
Of
we animals?
course, but we
So
are
we're
what?
animals.
What did I
So
say we
why
are,
would you say
Saints?
why would
We are moral agents. Animals are moral patients, okay? Not all humans are moral agents. It's just something that some of us are able to do. And do you agree that it's immoral for an adult who is a moral agent to take advantage of a child who is also considered a moral patient? Do you agree
Yeah,
it's
I feel like that's
immoral?
wrong. That's crazy.
Why? I agree with you,
Well,
but tell me why.
you're trying to compare
I just
taking
want you to
advantage
answer
of
my
a
question.
child.
I
Okay,
just
answer the
want to know
question.
your logic on this.
Because being vegan and
No,
me eating
you're
me
no,
not
see, you're off topic again. That's not what I asked you.
answer your question.
That's
Okay.
not what I asked you. I asked you, why is it immoral for an adult moral agent human to take advantage of a moral aid or moral patient child, someone who doesn't understand morality?
It's not okay.
Okay, I agree with you. Why? Why is it immoral for an adult human to do that to a child, to take advantage of them?
Because it's long, it's a disgusting thing to do.
Why is it disgusting?
Because the child, why would a
Right,
grown
the
adult do
child will
that?
suffer. Right? The child, even though the child does not understand morality, even though children will do things that are immoral sometimes because they don't understand, that doesn't give me, a moral agent, the moral justification to take advantage of a child just because they're vulnerable to me, right? Because they care what happens to them. And that's all that matters. Since they're sentient, I shouldn't be using them without their consent, right?
Question. No. Question. How do you know
Okay.
animals don't want to be eaten?
Because they run from the knife.
How do you know
They
that?
scream.
How
I've
would they run from a
seen
knife?
the footage.
How would they run from a knife? They don't get, dude. How they don't? First of all,
You
in
need to
slaughterhouses,
watch
they don't.
Dominion. Watch Dominion.
Slaughterhouse, they do
Have you
not.
ever seen
When did they
slaughter
ever?
footage? Have you
I have
ever
seen slaughterhouse.
seen?
Yes, I have. They do
Okay.
not. They do not
Walk
take
me
them with
through
a
it.
knife.
How do they unalive a cow?
They usually have a pressure pew pew that they put to their head and then pull the trigger that instantly kill them. Yes, I don't know what you're talking about then.
No.
They do not use a
So you
knife
need to
or
go watch Dominion. So
I
what you're
have I
describing, you haven't
brother.
clearly.
What am I
You clearly
describing?
haven't. You
What am I
clearly haven't.
describing?
You're misunderstanding the process then.
What am I describing?
You're describing the stunning process, not the unaliving process.
What's the studying process?
That means that they're unconscious. They're still alive.
So you're saying that you're saying a pressure pew pew that goes through the forehead straight to the brain keeps them stunned, keeps them knocked
You
out.
know why? You know why?
Why? Tell me
They
why.
need the heart pumping to get all the blood out. So what they do is
You could
they
just
knock
wash
them
it.
out. They knock them out. They hang them by their leg. They slit their throat and then they hoist them up. And often their leg will dislocate because they're very heavy animals. And then they wake up choking on their blood because the stun only lasts like 30 seconds.
Why would they stun them? Why can't they just do it while they're awake?
They do it, well, some people do it while they're awake. That's called halal and kosher.
And also, what if it's for religious purpose? What if I have to eat meat for my religion?
There's no religion that requires that you use animals.
I can make a new one.
Okay, well, then you're just making it up for the sake of hurting someone.
Not someone.
You
Someone with an
are.
intent
You can't even explain to me why it's morally justifiable for you to use animals. Like, why is it
Okay,
okay
I'll make it
for.
justifiable.
Stop, Saint.
I'll make
Just
it
let me
justifiable.
ask you a question. No, you need to stop. Why is it morally okay for someone to do this to an animal but not a child? Break it down for me.
Because animals will always eat other animals. We will never stop eating other animals.
That is not a good answer. That is a
Yes,
terrible
it is.
answer. So you're
Animals are
telling
always
me
going to eat other animals.
cows, you're telling me
Yes.
cows, chickens, sheep, all these animals are out there just unaliving other animals all the time. So it
Well,
makes
no,
it
those are
your right to
herbivores.
use them. You see how you are just loony?
No, they're
You are not
herbivores.
making sense. I'm moving on.
So
You are ridiculous. A child. You don't want to listen. You just want to talk. I'm sorry, mommy didn't give you more attention. Hey, Lori. How's it going?
Hey, you
Hey.
don't sound very happy today.
I am not. That guy
Are you
was.
getting jerks?
Oh no, that was the first guy. It's just that he kept not listening, and that's wearing on me. I just don't. If people start pivoting a
Hey,
bunch, I'm just gonna kick
yeah,
them, or
just
I'll.
boot them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Or if you're up here or someone's up here, I'll give you guys the options. But
okay,
I don't want to
yeah,
deal with people, skirting around in
yeah.
circles for no reason.
It's
It's
the
like,
universe, and all of them are getting these people that are psychos and
yeah.
children. It's just ridiculous. So they've all started just booting them. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I don't
wasting
blame
your
him.
time and your energy.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm
Yeah,
wasting my time and energy because he's like
exactly.
he was focused on if animals can do it, why can't I? And I explained to him twice the difference between moral agents and moral patients. Still, he was like, they're doing something naughty, therefore I get to do something naughty to totally different animals.
Yeah, some people just can't track, you know.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
I
Anyway,
can totally hear it in your voice. So
yeah, I
we
was
just
just
people
like,
up here
dude,
that
I
aren't
don't want to
funny.
deal with you anymore.
Well, I'll check. I mean, if you want, I'll check their profiles and find out who they
Yeah.
are. And
Yeah, you could do that. I'm totally fine. This is
okay.
whenever you or any other vegans come up, I try to give you guys all the power so you can, do what you
Yeah.
want to the live because I trust you guys. So, yeah, if you feel like doing that, you're totally welcome to do so.
No, you know, no kids, and
Yeah, please, no kids.
she's a kid. No, sorry, Madison. You're a kid, not 18.
Yeah, if you're over
Just
18, I'll
having
talk
a,
to you, but not under.
yeah, you have to be 18 to come
Oh,
up.
Dinga. That guy's vegan. I'll bring him up. Dinga diet.
You're not
Hey,
coming. Hey,
are you there, Dinga?
maybe he can't load in.
Oh, no. Oh, I see. It's not. Over here, he's loaded in, but over there, he's not.
Okay. That's weird.
That is weird.
He might have to drop down or
Yeah.
something.
You can request back up, Dingo, though. I'll bring you back up.
Oh, Freesia's here.
Yay. Hi, Freesia.
Hi,
I
Freesia.
fell behind in our chat. We've been talking a lot, and I
Um,
totally have not been paying attention to my social medias.
yeah, maybe
Bit of a
she's
butt.
busy. She can't come up.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, she probably can't come up. That's okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here, guys. Everyone in the chat, appreciate you.
Did let's see, Ina? I don't know. She says it's a host friend, Ina.
Oh, that's weird. I don't even see Ina requesting.
Oh, she's on this side. I don't know. That's her.
I think she's just in the chat.
Maybe, yeah.
I've got a Jado. I don't know. I'll bring him up with her. It might be a child, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I can I don't think it's
Hey,
oh,
I'm 19. I'm born 2006.
Okay.
So,
So, how do you morally
no.
justify not being vegan?
So, like, imagine if you know how cows they eat like they only stick to grass. That's like vegan, but like people like stuff like raccoons, they can eat anything but not be vegan.
They could be vegan. Raccoons,
Oh,
well, I guess let me change my words. They can't be vegan. They can eat a plant-based diet.
yeah,
Veganism
kind
is actually not a diet. It's a movement and it's a way of living that stands
and like a
against
preference
oppression.
too.
No, it's more about standing against oppression.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's a principled stance against the exploitation of all sentient beings.
True, true, true. But like, how would I overcome like meatism?
Meatism. Oh, we usually say
Yeah.
carnism, but meatism, that's a good one too. What it would be is honestly the reason why you should stop is because the animals are suffering. So what I would do
But
is
like,
watch Dominion.
I like to like, I like to fuck chicken.
Yeah, you sound like you're not all there.
that's why I wasn't sure about him. That's
I know. I
I
was.
love meat. Meat's the best thing in the world.
Wow. Wow. There really are a lot of kids. You weren't
They
joking,
are
Lori.
so over everywhere. It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
I've had to block so many kids.
This is just kind of cracking me.
Yeah, that's what I'm just gonna do. Is I'm just gonna set them back down, and if they keep requesting up, I'll just boot them.
Just don't overwork yourself on because I know they're gonna try to test the limits here.
Oh no, yeah, I know. They do it all the time. I'm just so sick of them. Jay is not coming back up. Sea Flake, you sound maybe Sea Flake, but I'll keep my finger on the button for you if he wants to mouth off.
Did he not come up? Oh, I thought you told him to come up.
Oh, I didn't. No, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Do you? So I just want to, just because I'm curious, are you also going to bring people up, or do you want me to just click on people
No,
while
I
you're
can
doing
bring
that?
people up if you
Okay,
want.
cool. I just
I'm
didn't want to
going
overwhelm
through.
you because there's so many
Yeah,
requests. So
I know, and I've been Air to Mud. He looks maybe old enough.
okay.
Okay, come on, Air to Mud. Please don't be one of those kids.
Don't worry, I'm definitely not. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good
All
morning.
right. How old are you for TikTok purposes?
I am 24.
Okay, great.
So I have a question.
Okay, could you answer my question, then I'll answer yours?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So just how do you morally justify not being vegan?
So in terms of morality, I personally don't believe that there is a moral or immoral justification for or against veganism, because morality is entirely subjective, right? So when we sit here and we look at it from that standpoint, it really just boils down to, okay, I can morally justify it because it is the life choice that I have chosen to make. Now, if we're talking about from the standpoint of animal exploitation, I'm sure you and I could absolutely agree that the modern day agricultural business is highly exploitative, and it does need to stop.
So it's really, even farming on a small scale is still oppressing someone. That's what we're talking about, is that animals are being oppressed. Veganism is just a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. And we're recognizing that animals are just as sentient as us. Sentience is an on-off thing. You either are experiencing life or you're not. And we have found through many behavioral studies and even looking at their anatomy that they are much more similar to us than they are to plants, and that they relate with us in that they are having a subjective experience, making preferences, avoiding harm. They have this preference to continue living and making more preferences just like us. So we can assume that since we are sentient, they are sentient, we want to live, that they want to live. That if we want our subjectivity respected, our ability to suffer to be considered, then we should reflect that same respect that we demand to all beings who have the capacity to experience life and potentially suffer.
Yeah, so I can completely understand that standpoint.
Okay.
And it's actually really funny that you had brought up, the sentience and the moral capacity of other animals, because I actually have a degree in animal behavior research from Texas A&M.
Nice.
And one of my main sorry, I just woke up, so words.
It's all good. I'm right there with you. Got my
So
coffee.
one of my main areas of study was actually specifically avian and canine psychology. So I was focusing on, avian psychology and canine psychology, the way that they relate to the world from their standpoint, stuff like that. And so I can completely understand the idea of, like, okay, even small scale farming, stuff like that. So the question is then, do you have an issue, like, specifically with just standard hunting and gathering, right?
Yes.
So people going out and actively hunting where that animal has the ability to escape, that animal's not corralled, that animal's not, you know what I mean? Because at that point
Well,
now,
what kind
you
of
know what I
hunting are
mean?
we talking about? Because in my part of the world, hunting is high-powered rifles, hiding in camo, covering yourself in pee, so that the animal has the least idea to know that there's a game afoot.
I mean, the same. I would say that applies as well, because that's predators do that all the time as well. We see that with wolves. We see
So
that.
are you doing it for survival, or are you doing it for other reasons?
Me personally, when I hunt, I only do it for food. I don't
Right?
do it for I
But
don't do it for
are
game or
you in
trophy.
survival? Do you not have access to a grocery store or plant foods?
I personally do not
Where do you,
agree with buying meat from large grocery stores due
oh,
to the
no, no.
fact that the
I'm not asking you to buy animal flesh. I'm asking you to buy plant-based products.
like
So I'm asking, do you have a grocery store near you, just in general? Do you have
yeah,
a
I do.
store? Okay. So what I'm saying is your hunting is an option. You're choosing to do it. It's not survival. You have options to survive without demanding someone lose their life. The issue with hunting, I understand that there's claims that it's for the environment, but if we truly cared about the environment, we would be eliminating animal ag, as it's the big reason why a lot of these wild animals are entering human spaces. We use 83% of our land, our agricultural land, is dedicated to raising animals and their food. We're knocking down forests and kicking native stewards out of their home to make room for fields for cows to stand in and for their food to grow, right? So God, I got off my point because there's just so many things wrong with not with using animals. But the point was their sentience. What was it that I had said to you in the beginning? Sorry.
You had brought up their because I had asked specifically your stance regarding
Hunting.
Yeah.
Yes. So the issue with hunting is that, like, people claim that they're trying to be outside of the farming issue, but so the mammal biomass, just the mammals, not including the birds and the lizards and all those, but just the mammal biomass is 60% farm animals. 60%. Humans make up, I think, 36%. Wild animals, wild mammals, make up 4% of the total global mammal biomass. So when you're out there hunting, you're taking out the small, tiny bit of wildlife that we have left. And birds, I think it's something like 70% of the birds on this planet are farmed, and only 30% are wild. So it's just like we're hacking down the wildlife like it's their fault for just existing, when really it's us forcing them into our human spaces. If we eliminated animal ag, we could reduce our land use by 75% and still feed 10 billion people. And rewild that land, give it back to the animals, the original stewards, whoever, so that we don't need to worry about, population control or whatever. We don't need to hunt them. That's not the solution.
Well, okay, so when you bring up population control, it's actually interesting because that actually was going to be one of my next questions, was how you felt about, for example, we all know that the Florida Everglades are, invaded by Burmese and retics, right? So how do you feel about the removal and culling of those highly invasive species that are absolutely devastating the Everglades?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a conservationist person. I don't have the education to be able to, this is what we should do,
Yeah.
I do think, though, there's a problem that our conservationists aren't coming from it with the aspect of the animal's best interest. They're coming at it from the aspect of, this is affecting my living space. So they often will just turn to unaliving because it's cheap and easy and quick, right? But if we were to consider the individuals, we would find another way to clean up that mess. And I mean, there's like birth control if we really need to control population numbers. That way the individual can live, but they can't reproduce, and slowly the numbers will dwindle. There's other options if we really need to mess with population numbers.
So that's actually exactly why I specifically brought up the Florida Everglades, right? Because I understand the point that you're making, where there are a lot of people, like, for example, I live in Texas, right? So a lot of people have issues with boars, coyotes, and white-tailed deer where I'm at, right?
Yeah, that's all because of animal ag.
Yeah, and there are 100% a lot of people that their first go-to is just simply, wipe those animal populations out because they're a nuisance. But I wasn't referring to that. That's why I specifically brought up the Everglades, because the Everglades, nobody lives in the Everglades, right? That's entirely protected natural land.
Okay, so what's the benefit of stopping the invasive species? Because honestly, nature's going to grow and collapse on its own. And if it's not going to affect a population of humans, I really don't know why we're intervening.
Sure. So the reason why they're working on stopping that specific invasive species is due to the fact that, well, one, that invasive species was introduced by humans. The way Burmese and retics were introduced to the Everglades was actually through the illegal pet trade back in the 90s. A lot of people got these animals, not realizing how big these snakes get, because, I mean, these snakes get, 20, 30 feet. Right? And then they start, because in the 90s, the pet trade was super unregulated. Like, you could walk into a pet store.
The only point that you're really making right now is just that we need to make sure that we don't procreate pets anymore, because people are irresponsible and just let their pets procreate irresponsibly. and then those animals get loose. I mean, it's not just the case for that. There's dogs that are out there wild, cats that are out there wild, right? Causing tons of damage, right? The issue is the humans. The humans keep introducing these animals. So as far as like what to do about that situation, I don't have the answer for you, but I would say come at it from the perspective that you don't want to just cause unnecessary harm. But I don't have the solution for everything. All I can talk to you about is your choices, what you can do.
And that's why I was asking about the moral qualms that you may have had with it, because the whole point of being up here is the whole point of having this conversation and this prompt is to have an actual thoughtful discussion and figure out.
Yeah, I'm absolutely okay with you challenging it. There are fringe cases. The only issue I have with fringe cases, I just don't want people to be so distracted by them. Like, just because maybe I don't have a solution for the Everglades doesn't mean that people in their everyday life can choose they're not prevented from choosing plant-based products. That veganism is about me personally not wanting to demand exploitation. And my response to the Everglades is really just my personal thing. It's not a vegan perspective, because vegans are just about exploitation. If I was to want to capture those animals and eat them or use them in some fashion because they're an invasive species, that I would have an issue with. That is perpetuating someone be born into existence, blaming them for being born in that body, and then unaliving them so you can lick their insides or whatever comes out of them.
So
if your purpose is for you, you're not going to consider that individual's best interest, right? You're only going to consider your benefits.
I'm sorry. I'm gathering my thoughts. I'm kind of processing.
Take a second. Yeah.
So your qualm. So just to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly, your qualm with it is more so the idea of people doing it for their own selfish purposes. They're doing it because it's beneficial to them, regardless of whether or not it is beneficial to the animal that it's happening to.
Yes, that's the important part, is that they're doing it to benefit themselves and no longer care about the best interests of the individual, right? Taking someone's life is not in that individual's best interest, right? Right, unless they're suffering, right? That's when you maybe would consider that being compassionate.
Yeah.
It's
kind of similar to what we see with like, for example, with their, like, here in Texas, right? Exotic leather is a very popular thing for boots, right? And there is a specific line of boots made of elephant leather. Now, that elephant leather is specifically taken from elephants after when they've been found and they've died of old age. And
but then someone sees it, right? And they go, oh, I want an elephant bag. And they don't have access to this more ethical material. So they get it through other avenues.
Yeah. No, I was just bringing up an example to kind of like understand exactly what it was you're saying, because you had
Got
mentioned
it. Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so sort of
it's just the exploitation. It's the exploitation. Exploitation means to use someone unfairly for your benefit. And we're not reliably able to get consent from animals, just like we can't reliably get consent from children, and that makes child labor immoral, right? They don't understand what they're committing to. Or marriage, right? A kid can't commit to marriage because they don't know what they're committing to.
Yeah.
They can say the words or, give you an action, but that doesn't mean they understand. And animals are much the same. We can communicate with them somewhat, but we can't reliably get consent from them. So using them is immoral. We're taking advantage of someone who's vulnerable, and we're not considering their preferences, their interests. We're just considering our benefits.
So then the question I have, right, is, because like I completely understand everything you're saying. So the question that I have is, what is it that makes us as humans, I guess you could say, what is it that places the onus of responsibility on us as humans to ensure that then essentially makes us different, right? Because I'm sure you've heard a similar argument from other people in the past of like, oh, well, that's just nature, blah, 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 blah. But you and I have already discussed animals' capability of sentience.
Did I describe moral agents and moral patients?
No, so you did not. I think I tuned in right when you were complaining about somebody else not understanding it, but I didn't actually hear what your
That's
explanation
fair.
of it.
So animals, much like children, are what we call moral patients. They may understand morality, but they don't always understand everything about it, or maybe they don't have the liberty of space and time to practice, because morality is something that we actually kind of practice from when we're young, kind of
Yeah.
taught. But there are some natural inclinations that we get, and we do see that in animals, but they are in a situation for the most part, like wild animals that are harming each other. They're in a situation of survival. You know, they're doing what they were taught from their parents and what has kept their species alive so far. And we've seen when we remove them from that fight or flight mode that they do show compassion and morality. But humans, not all humans have this either, but we have a lot of moral agents. You and I are moral agents. We understand you can weigh out a situation and take its nuances to decide if it's moral or not, right? We understand it's complex. And a child and an animal, like I said, they may have some natural instincts of what morality is, but they don't fully understand it. So we don't hold them to the same standard. So just because an animal is doing something immoral to another animal, that doesn't mean you now have the right to do something to somebody else.
Yeah. So then I guess this kind of brings us back to what I had originally stated about morality being subjective, right? So at that point now, what is it for what would well actually let's start with this. Do you agree with morality being subjective, or do you think
Yes.
morality is inherently objective?
No, I think it's subjective. I think every person has their own perspective of what's going on.
Okay. So then if morality is subjective, then the question then becomes what makes your moral compass and your sense of morality superior to, for example, Joe Schmo down in the comments talking about like, oh, I'm gonna go grill a steak right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually don't want to force my morality on anybody. I don't think that I'm superior. I just think that I'm a sentient being, and I think that you, as a sentient being, have a similar principle that you care about your autonomy. You care about, your experience. Whatever happens to you matters to you. And I think that you're going to avoid harm. So I can make those assumptions about any sentient being.
Yeah.
And so if I know that I share that similarity with them, I want my subjective reality respected. I want my capacity to suffer to be recognized. If I demand that respect, why am I not giving that respect to someone else who is also having a subjective experience, who also cares about moving forward in life, making more preferences? That's something
Yeah.
that all sentient beings have. So that's what I'm saying. The difference is that I'm a moral agent, they're a moral patient. I have a moral obligation to them to reflect the same respect that I would demand. Because if I was in their situation, what would I want? If you were in their situation, what would you want?
Yeah. So I completely understand that, right?
Okay.
I guess once again though, because I apologize if
Oh no,
maybe
you were
this.
talking about subjectivity. Maybe I didn't answer that. So I'm just trying
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
that even though it's subjective, you and I agree on some things. Like,
Yes.
do you agree that it's immoral? This is where it might be a little more different for people, but don't you agree that it would be immoral to put a dog in a hot car?
Yeah.
Like
One
leave it in
hundred
a hot.
percent.
Right. Would you agree it's immoral to like breed dogs for dog fighting?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So the reasons though are because the animal's suffering, right? These animals are
Yes.
suffering unnecessarily. Right.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of different reasons, but I mean that
Okay.
would be getting off into the weeds. But you know what I mean.
Right, but the main problem with those situations is that someone's being born into existence just to suffer, right? Just to be used to fight, right? That's what we're saying is immoral. It's causing unnecessary harm to somebody when you don't need to do that. You don't need to make dogs fight, right? You can do other things, You could I don't know. I don't know what an alternative for that is, but it's like watch sports, watch boxing, right? Watch where people are
Yeah.
consenting to fight, not two individuals that have just been riled up so that they attack each other and, possibly unalive each other. That's not
Yeah.
fair to them. So if it's not fair to cause those dogs to go through that, I'm saying that using animals is actually escalating the violence. Those dogs, most of them will be able to live, right? They'll be able to go on to another fight, even though it's still immoral to put them through that. I'm not saying it's good or preferable, but you're not taking their head off. That's what we do
Yeah.
to the animals we use. We give them these short lives. We claim some of them are treated well, and then we remove their heads. And before that, a lot of them lose their families, they lose their autonomy, they get violated a bunch, and then we take their life.
Yeah, so I think at that point, we're talking about industrial agriculture, and
Oh, no,
you
no,
know,
even small scale, they have to remove their head.
you're talking about for like butchering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When the
yeah,
animal is going to be unalived, they have to remove their head. They're going to remove at least slit their neck.
yeah. So yeah, I'm familiar with that. Like my family owns a ranch. We do have barbadoe that my family does every Christmas. We do slaughter one, so I am familiar with the process.
Okay, well, so my point was, though, because you were talking about subjectivity, right? But I was pointing out you and I actually share principles. We think it's wrong to cause dogs unnecessary harm. Don't leave your dog in the hot car. Don't make your dog fight other dogs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I tried to point out that using animals is causing them greater harm, but we don't need to use them. So it's just as frivolous as dog fighting.
Yes. So then the question I would have for you.
Go ahead.
The question I would have for you then, let's say theoretically speaking, right? Even though you and I both know that objectively speaking, this probably would never happen. But let's say theoretically speaking, we did convince the whole world today to quit animal agriculture, today.
Yeah.
What would we do with the currently existing agricultured animals? Because we could not simply release them, as most of these animals would either A, be unable to survive in the wild, or B, some of them, like for example, English sheep, they would not be able to live a proper quality life because they've been genetically bred and selectively, raised up to where if they don't get their wool sheared, at that point, then they run into a whole other slew of health risks. Yeah. So would we simply use up those resources until they're gone, or what would be your ideal situation for that?
I have an answer. I was going to say, but I saw some other panelists come on, so I'm going to let them speak for a second.
I was just going to say that, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. We're talking about supply and demand. So the less people who demand that animals be unalived for them and be used for them, then the less supply there's going to be, meaning less animals are going to be brought into this world for that purpose. And so it's going to be a slow process of not breeding more animals. And then the animals that you were talking about before, like the sheep, the ones who have been genetically modified, genetically bred by humans to create an animal who cannot sustain themselves without human help, in the same way that, pugs are, or other sort of dogs like that. Is it ethical to continue breeding them? No. But the real question is you're talking about a problem that doesn't currently exist, because right now we're talking about why aren't you vegan?
Yeah, so that I was more so coming at it from a question in terms of just discussing the overall morality regarding her standpoints that she had talked about when it came to moral subjectivity and stuff like that. Like she had mentioned, for example, like, it'd be one thing.
No, and I get that, but I kind of want to bring it back to you and why aren't you vegan? Because we're talking about a lot of big abstract ideas, and what we're really doing is we're asking you specifically, why aren't you vegan? Why are you continuing to use animals when you don't have to?
Oh, I mean, I'm not vegan purely because of the fact that I personally believe in that idea of like, sure, yeah, this animal may not consent to, being consumed, but ultimately no animal consents to being consumed. And that was where the original conversation was.
I get that, but why do you, right now you're saying I'm deciding that you get to be consumed. You don't consent to it. I'm saying that you will. That's what you're doing right now. Instead of saying, no, I'm not, you don't consent to this. I don't consent to this. I'm not going to be the one to do it.
Okay, can you repeat that? Maybe I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is no animal consumes to be eaten, right? No one wants to be eaten. No one wants to be unalived and have their flesh eaten. No one wants that, right?
Correct.
And so what you're saying is you understand that they don't want that, but you're saying, I'm still going to make the choice to do that to you. Even though you don't want it, I'm still going to do it. And what we're saying is, why? when you don't have to. We're all saying, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to take their life. You don't have to consume their flesh. You're choosing to, knowing that they don't want that to happen to them.
Okay, I understand the question now. I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of explain this without it just being the same as, like, you know, Joe Schmo that doesn't understand subjective morality. I guess the easiest way to put it is, one, it's what I'm used to, right? It's what I grew up with. Two, and so at that point, I guess there is some level of stubbornness to it of like, well, I grew up with this. I'm so used to it by now. Like, you know, like what I had mentioned to Vegan Stoner earlier, like my family has a herd of Barbados that we slaughter every year for Christmas, right? Like it's something that I grew up with. It's something I'm familiar with. So there's that. Two, I think it also comes down to specifically my location and where I am. There just aren't as readily available resources to things like vegan meat and stuff like that, where she had mentioned, right? So it's not as readily available to me. And then three is this is probably the most basic and obvious one, but yeah, I like the taste of meat. It's something I'm familiar with. It's something I'm comfortable with, and that's really just what that comes down to.
Point out, you did say you have a grocery store near you.
Yes. So I do have a grocery store near me, but it's like a small little family grocery store. It's not like I have like a Walmart or anything here.
Does your store sell stuff like beans and rice, potatoes, flour, stuff like that?
Yeah, 100%.
So, I mean, you don't need mock meats to consume a plant-based diet. I mean, that's just like a novelty item, and maybe part of it in mind to entice people that consume animals that there are other options out there. I understand, like, you know, it's your livelihood, so probably addressing this with you is going to be a lot different than addressing it with somebody else if your family owns a ranch. But you know, it is possible to make the switch and make your ethics align with your beliefs. Like there's you should look into her Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. She did the exact same thing, you know.
Rowdy Girl Sanctuary is what you said?
Yep, she was her family was a big rancher in Texas, and they converted their cattle ranch into a sanctuary. And there's like grants and other stuff that you can look in to help with funding. You know, so there are ways to, you know, change if you do agree with the ethics. You know, we've all grown up conditioned to consume meat. Like none of us quit consuming animals because we didn't enjoy the taste of having a burger or steak or bacon or anything like that. We just connected the ethics, you know.
Yeah, we've all been indoctrinated into eating meat by our parents, you know.
Also, I apologize if you start hearing any background noises. One
Sorry
of my
about
dogs, it's getting ready to thunder and storm, and one of my dogs is terrified of lightning, so he's about to start whining. Unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
It's all good. My dog might start yelling at me for food again because she's a big foodie.
It hurts their ears and it scares them.
Yeah, he unfortunately I didn't know it was going to rain today, so I did not think to give him his trazodone to help him calm down.
Please send it my way because we've had a drought and I really would not like to have to hand water
send it
my
to
crops again
Ozark.
today.
Dude, if I could, I would. It has been like off and on for the past like month and a half. It's really, really bad right now. It's so humid.
Can I ask really quick? I only caught part of the conversation. I just heard ranching. What do you guys breed or manage there at your ranch? Like what types of animals do you guys?
Yeah, so our ranch is primarily just Barbados. These are Spanish sheep. So Barbados they were bred for kind of like a multi-use. They were bred for security to protect the ranch and protect the livestock because these are very, very large sheep. And one of the most common things that they would defend the ranches from was actually boars. So they were bred specifically to protect from boars. So they're large. They were also bred for wool, and they were bred for meat as well. So they're kind of like an all around species of sheep.
So is this like a large operation or is it a small independent one? I guess like my question
No.
is, do you guys receive like subsidies
Oh no,
for
no.
the
This is
operation or?
yeah, no. This is just a generational thing. Like my family first immigrated from Spain back in like the like mid late 1800s. So it's kind of
Yeah,
just been like more so, generational family land. It's not like we're a part of like the big ag or anything like that. It's mainly at this point we just have like a small herd of probably like 20 or 30, that it's more so we just have them now at this point because our families had them for generations.
for sure. Is this something that you're actively a part of?
That I'm actively a part of? No. Like the last time I
Okay.
went onto that
So,
ranch was like 3 years ago.
okay, so that kind of spreads a little bit, or changes things a little bit, with the direction of the conversation I was going to have. Because if you're actively a part of it, I can empathize with the, idea that, it's part of your specific livelihood. And I'm not trying to like necessarily attack anybody's culture, tradition, or upbringing. Like I said, in my culture, we grew up believing like kosher was an ethical thing, right? But if it's something that you're not necessarily actively part of, it kind of makes it easier for you individually if you could connect with the ethics. Do you believe that like taste justifies exploiting somebody?
No, and that's exactly why I specifically stated on multiple occasions. Like for me, it really just comes down to that idea of the full exploitation of animals is not something I'm happy with. Right? Like I
Sure.
100% understand that.
And do you believe that culture like itself is a justification to like cause harm to somebody else just based on you know culture and tradition alone?
So that's where the idea of moral subjectivity comes into place. I don't believe
Well,
that
but
there.
yeah, I understand that. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm asking you about your specific ethics, right? I don't care about anybody else's
My
subjective
personality, then no.
morals. You don't believe that. So, but you did use that as one of your reasonings or justifications to continue to do it. So, is it potentially just a level of cognitive dissonance that you're experiencing around it?
It's more so just a level of like understanding that I don't like it, but also being I guess uncomfortable with something that is necessarily new that I have not necessarily like. I'm one of those people. I'm very comfortable where I am. Don't necessarily want to move. Don't want to necessarily shift. Even it's
Very
basically
human. That's very human.
it's complacency.
Yeah,
It's
we all experience that. Like you're not alone in that, I promise. Like I experience that daily, especially like on stuff that I've been practicing. Like I farm crops, right? I do veganic farming, and there's still new practices I learn every day that make older practices that seemed more convenient, like that are more ethical than that. And having to redesign my operation around that regularly, I experience that. It's uncomfortable making a change, but because I'm aware of my practices and I like to be consistent with my own subjective ethics, I experience that regularly. So it's nothing new.
yeah.
So I guess the question is, I mean, you seem to be ethically there. Like, is it something you would consider like looking into,
Oh yeah. I mean,
like at least
I wouldn't be.
attempting?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be on the panel for as long as I was having the conversation that I'm having if it's not something that I haven't considered. That's
You'd be surprised how many people do that, though.
uh,
I
So
add though,
I guess
oh, go
like
ahead.
I was going to ask, I guess, what's your biggest hurdle? Like, what is the biggest thing right now that would be holding you back aside from like your fear of change?
I guess not really knowing kind of where to go with it because it's like okay, so the thing with as with any type of diet change, right? The biggest thing is that there's tons of different information out there from varying sources, right?
Mhm.
You've got, for example, you have some sources that may tell you like, oh yeah, you can just go straight plants, no issues, no problems. But then it's like, okay, well, what should I be eating? What should I not? Right?
That's totally valid. I mean, I made the switch overnight, like a little over 6 years, about 6.5 years ago. Like when I realized what I was doing and it actually made sense to me, I made the change overnight. I don't think that's the reality for everybody. It was for me. It is possible. I was a competitive athlete at the time too, so nutrition was something that was like really important to my lifestyle. So I get how daunting that can be. Fortunately, there is a lot of information available out there, and there are resources like one's called Challenge 22. It's a free 22-day challenge where you connect with a plant-based dietitian, like a registered plant-based dietitian. You get a group of people, and they help you tailor a plant-based diet to your lifestyle.
Okay.
So that's something that wasn't available for me at the time, I don't think. And if it was, I didn't know about it. For me, it was just trial and error and just a learning process. But all of the nutrition that you get from animals comes from plants, minus like B12. But the most of the livestock that's consumed today, like they're the biggest consumers of B12 supplements. So you're supplementing that anyway.
Yeah.
And with the current research, like people that consume animals are just as at risk for deficiencies than people that consume plant-based diet. So education on diet is important regardless of what you're consuming.
Yeah.
So it just takes like
that was where kind
Go
of
ahead.
it was, because like I said, like I've researched it before, I've looked into it before, and it's like there's just so much information out there that trying to figure out like what is correct information and what is not can be typical. It's no different than getting into cars, right? There's going to be tons of people that have tons of different cars. They're going to tell you this one's good, but this one's bad. This one sucks. This information here is good. It's like, oh well, actually this information is 10 years old. So it's like that's kind of really my biggest hurdle. Like I've never been good at research, and so in terms of trying to find those sources, it's always been tough.
Well, write down that challenge22.org, and just at least check it out, and see like what they might have to offer. But there's also I don't know if you you can use, I hate saying it, like Google it or anything like that, but you can use Google to find how to combine proteins and get like a complete nutrition profile on a plant-based diet. Like combining, I know a big issue for a lot of people is protein, but when you combine certain plants, like specifically like legumes with rice or legumes with grains, you complete the protein profile. Your body does an excellent job at doing that. And there's an abundance of protein in both,
I guess I just want to add real quick that protein combining in terms of like one meal, our body is like, that's not necessarily something that we have to worry about. It's throughout the entire day. Our body is able to take different amino acids and turn it into the proteins that we need. So our body can do that really, really well naturally with plant foods. And if you're looking for some sources, there's some great documentaries on Netflix. I don't know if you have Netflix, but there's Forks Over Knives is a great one. That's a great place to start. Game Changers is a really good one. It goes over athletes who are on plant-based and vegan diets. There's a couple other ones. There's tons of apps too that are different challenges to help you start going vegan. I mean, there are so many. And then all of us here are more than happy to help. Like if you have any questions, every single one of us would be more than happy to answer any question that you have.
Yeah, I also want to add your wallet will thank you as well. It's a lot less expensive to consume a plant diet than it is a animal inclusive diet. Obviously, if you're not always consuming those novelty stuff, which like I said isn't largely necessary, but if it's something that you tried and enjoyed, it's really inexpensive to make at home anyway, so cost wouldn't be a factor.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say, I mean, like rice and beans are kind of already a staple in my pantry anyways, but I just wasn't sure. that would.
I think what you should do is check out our resources and definitely at least like the nutritionfacts.org, because you can just see a checklist on how to get everything you need in a day, like all your proteins and all your vitamins and all that. It's just super easy and it's free. But like Ozark was mentioning, there are vegan challenges that you can look up where there's professionals like nutritionists and dietitians that can answer questions specific about your issues. But I do want to move on just because we've been sitting here for I think about like 30 minutes. But you're welcome to like hang out in the chat. But I would love for you to check out our resources and then come back to me.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate it. It was a great conversation.
Hell
Y'all have a
yeah.
wonderful-
I appreciate you coming up here, asking some good questions. So, yeah,
Yep.
it's a big deal.
Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you. All right.
Bye-bye.
You have a good day. I lost my, there it is. Oh, wait. Hey, Ozark, how are you?
Wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing all right. It's really good to see you. I'm really glad you're up here. It's good to see you.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you guys inviting me up.
Yeah.
I'm happy I have time to do it.
Yeah.
I need to ask, are we still I know some people find that controversial because of the location, but Challenge 22?
So I haven't been recommending it because of its location. I understand that they don't speak up about the issue. I'm worried that I'm softening the image of that location about the issue. I'm not going to stop you
Okay.
from suggesting it. What I've been suggesting is 10 weeks to vegan. They also have similar resources. I don't think they have access to dietitians, but they do have like mentors, and I think they have some nutritionists. But yeah,
I'll look into that then, because I don't want to like say something that's like not being promoted on your
I appreciate
live or
you
anything.
checking in with me. I honestly, I'm sad about it because I really feel like that is such a great resource. So I
Yeah.
am very
It
heartbroken.
was just the
because-
way that you
yeah.
it was the way that you addressed it at the end where I was like, I should have probably asked first, so I apologize.
Can't you tell them where it is located and let them let them have the choice or not, or is that not a good thing?
I don't
Not a
know.
good
Maybe
idea?
let me think about it, because I
Okay.
have so many overlapping feelings, and I'm like, am I just thinking about myself, or am I don't know. It's such a weird
understand.
topic, and I want people.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm worried it's a distraction. That's honestly my main concern, is that people are gonna find that stuff out and be like, "Oh, you're supporting this." It's like, no,
Right.
just a great
Got it.
resource.
That's fair enough.
Access to dietitian. Yeah. So, anyway, like I
I mean,
said,
I grew up in a Jewish household. I'm staunchly against what's going on over there, so I get the conflict, and like I'm so mad about it. So that's why like it still comes out and I don't think about it. And after I mention it, I'm like, should I have really mentioned that? So I get it.
I've done it a couple of times too, even though I'm personally trying to not. So it happens because it just seemed like such a great resource that offered a solution to it honestly points to a big issue that this country needs, which is healthcare. That's all it really means.
Hey, I need to drop down real quick and I'll come
Okay.
right back up. Okay, my phone's acting weird.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for you.
Okay.
What was that resource, so I can write it down and start recommending that one instead?
10 weeks to vegan. There's other ones too, actually. So I use a resource that's called, well, I'm sure you guys know who We the Free is. They have, I think it's WTF 3 movies. And it's where, because I have cards that have these little QR codes that people can scan now. And
Oh, awesome.
yeah, and what's cool, you can make your own. What's nice is that it actually keeps track of how many people use your resource and which resources they use, so you can know like which ones are more effective to hand out to people. And what's nice is you can make it modular. You can change out the resources that are shown to that person.
You should try to integrate that QR code within your backdrop so people can screenshot it and then.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like somewhere over here or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. But what's nice is it actually opened my eyes to that there's a ton of other vegan challenges. Challenge 22 is actually one of the most effective ones, but the 10 weeks to vegan is like the next most effective. And I think what it is, honestly, it's not the dietitian that is what helps people retain. It's the community. I think having access to this like vegan community that they provide is what keeps people retained. And I've been following the group on Facebook, and it seems like they're pretty active. People ask questions, and a ton of people respond. So it
You
seems
have
like
to
it's a
look
pretty
into
good.
that.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely do.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 10 weeks to vegan thing right now. It's really cool. Like the whole sign up thing. I haven't seen this before, but yeah, it asks like in the past month, how often do you do like eat, these certain animals and all that kind of stuff and different meals, and it's cool. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
10 weeks is a long time, but it's the same way. I think it's the same process. It's through Facebook and email, so it's not invasive, but you need that support for 10 weeks. There it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate you asking. Hello, Freesia. I didn't even say hello to you. You were up here earlier. Happy to see you up here.
Thanks for having me. I
Hell
appreciate
yeah.
it.
Hell yeah. Well, I don't have anyone requesting. Anybody want to come up? You just got to be over 18, unless everybody in here is vegan. Yeah. That's pretty weird, though, actually, for it to be. There's 31 of us in here, and we're all vegans? I don't believe that.
Yeah, and a lot of them are just yakking.
Yeah.
They're just saying crap.
They could be kids, too, like,
Yeah.
I'm not over 18,
There's
but I'll
been
comment.
so many kids. You can ask Ozark. He was on News Live yesterday. This is ridiculous.
Oh, you were live. Cool.
Yeah, he was on News Live. It's just there's so many kids and just crazy people coming up, huh?
Good morning. That's right.
I forget that it's summertime and
Yeah.
like yeah.
Exactly.
It's like kids and weirdos. This is like crazy.
Yeah. Well, veganism is hard for selfish people, so.
Come on up if you're not a vegan.
How many people were inside the house or how the suspect
Come on up, Miss Spiffy.
Yeah, Spiffy, get up here.
Talk to us about your ranch.
whether or not this person was actually hit
And how many animals do you think are unalived for your crops?
Thankfully, no injuries reported from any of the occupants. Now,
That's something that I always find to be, I don't know, just somewhat thoughtless is when people say, oh, well, all the animals die in, harvesting crops. And it's like, well, who's eating the most crops? We're talking about 92 billion land animals and 3 trillion marine life. Like, they're eating the most crops, not humans, not the 8 billion humans. And so it's like,
she says she doesn't do lives with pine cones. Really?
It's also a big straw man of what veganism actually is. Like,
yeah, good point.
Informed.
You can get off the panel or get off the request or whatever.
Yeah, you can request. What's a pine cone? I don't know what that means.
Danby, we don't wear leather. There's vegan leather. That's just as good.
Or use paper made from trees? How do I use paper?
We don't wear paper either.
A large misunderstanding of what veganism is.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the biggest
Even that
hurdle.
were pine cones. I think.
What are pine? Like, how are we a pine cone though?
Because we eat vegetables, and she's a rancher, so she eats.
Is that what pine cones do?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe she couldn't think of a better plant to use.
I know. I was like, I'm kind of confused on why I'm a pine cone. Am I sticky?
Who's killing trees? The majority of the trees that are cut down are to make land for grazing cattle.
Yeah.
Like, I have an orchard. I don't kill trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they think we get apples.
You gotta chop the whole tree down.
Smiles,
Whole
I like
thing.
that.
Chop it
I'm
down.
a proud pine cone too, Smiles.
Woo,
Yeah, I'd
pine
rather be a
cones.
pine cone than a blood mouth.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. I don't do blood sacrifice.
Come on
Yeah,
up.
right?
Come up, non-vegans. Come on up, non-vegans. Request.
They're all vegan.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yeah, I guess they're all well aware that 80% of the Amazon deforestation is happening for animal agriculture.
Yeah. Yep. All those animals also being pushed out. All the people that live in those areas, the native Stewarts that are living there, they're also being pushed out so you can lick the inside of a sentient body. Whew. Terrible. Terrible. I mean, your grandmother should not have been farming a cow. I'm sorry that, she was harmed, but she was
Oh
enslaving
my
someone.
God, that comment reminded me of that old song, Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer.
Wow, that's a blast. A blast from the past. Oh, wow. Oh my God. I actually had a stepbrother that would listen to that song every year. Oh my gosh.
It reminds me of the previous guest was talking about how they slaughter a lamb at Christmas. Isn't that what they were saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a sheep. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
They're really cute looking too. I looked up what the sheep look like, and they have like black bellies and these brown kind of tan back sides. And it looks like some of them have big horns. Let's see. Maybe that's maybe that's their ancestor. Let's see, images. Oh no, okay. These ones don't have, oh wow, they have like this big, that looks like maybe the males have this like almost a mane. Or maybe
What
that's
was the
just
name of that?
Barbados Spanish sheep. Barbados. These ones all look like short, I don't know. Some of them have like, it looks like a mane, and some of them just always look short-haired. I can't tell what they normally look like.
Maybe the short-haired ones were sheared or.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe they're. I don't know if they would be sheared for their wool though. It doesn't look the same. It looks like, I don't know. It looks like the hair of a deer almost. I can't really tell. I have a really small image up. Too many windows open.
Same, and I don't know what any of them are, or the majority of them.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Y'all don't want to come up here. Oh, look, we got someone. Hey, TY Tank Rips. Are you over 18 when you log in? Oh, okay, guess not. Must have been an accident.
Be wrong.
Yeah. Wow, guys, I can't believe it. Nobody wants to come up here. This is crazy. I've never had it this dead before.
They're all saying crap in the comments, but they don't want to come up because they're chickens.
No point in asking questions. They don't care.
Okay.
We don't care? What do I not care about?
Oh, still okay for the hunter-gatherer tribe. Nationwide and underdeveloped countries, huh?
Someone's saying I'm ignoring their questions too. What were you reading?
Jake Gosenju, what he was saying.
Oh, for people that are living in situations of necessity, like they're still welcome to the conversation. They should absolutely still, share ideas on this topic that animals are sentient and want to live and don't want to be used. But I'm not going to shame someone who's in survival, If I were in that situation, I would choose to survive. So how can I hold anybody else differently? But if it's culture, no culture justifies harming someone.
Yeah, I also don't think tokenizing specific communities to justify your own actions is really a valid stand.
I actually was saying this the other day too, and it's like so obvious, but sometimes saying it out loud, it just needs to be heard. It's just, if I was to even take you up on like talking to you about these people, they're not here to defend themselves, and I have to go off of some generalization of them because I don't know what their specific situation is. So it's just not fair. And it's so frustrating. They still think it's a gotcha, and it's like, no, it's that their situation is, a unique one. I don't know what their specifics, and most people living in those situations are kind of a fringe case. And it's not that I don't want them considered. It's just, for most people, it's not the situation they're in. And as Ozark said, it's tokenizing. It's frustrating.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's tokenizing, and oh shit, I lost my train of thought.
I hate that when it happens. I did drone on there a minute.
No.
God, you guys
my brain.
remember me in. You guys are losing your train of thought.
I know it's the lack of protein.
I don't feel so bad now. I mean, with myself, because I do that all the time, and I'm 61. So.
I think it's so human. I mean, most people I talk to have, brain farts, and most people I know are not vegan. So I think it's just human, especially with like the state of how everything is. It just feels like this constant looming, and that can also give you a bit of a fog because you're like trying to cope with things that you can't really control, and still live your life.
Freesia, Paul Hare is asking you a question.
Oh yeah, they want to know if
A
shrimp are sentient, and yes, shrimp
Yes.
are sentient. There's actually this really cute shrimp on TikTok. I think his name is what was his name? Lodi or something, or Loki? No, I can't remember his name. But he's some sort of blue shrimp species, and the person who takes care of him. It's adorable to watch their interaction, and the little shrimp come out and get so excited for food and new building materials and all sorts of things. I mean, the Lodi, is that the name? I can't remember the name, but yeah, he's a very cute shrimp and obviously very, very sentient. Like you just have to watch them for a little bit of time to know that they are sentient. Same with crabs. There's this other account that I follow that has these crabs, and she takes care of the crabs, and they enjoy being scratched in certain areas on their shells because it feels really good. And yeah, they're absolutely sentient.
That is so sweet.
It is sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. I get a little weary at looking at cute animals on the internet because some, I'm sure y'all know, people have been abusive to animals just to get clicks. Hey, Just Maddie, are you over 18? Okay, I wasn't sure. But if they're showing clear signs that they're just like taking care of them, I would love to watch that. Nothing wrong with that.
Anika, if you want to know, come up. It's too much to type, okay? Come up and we'll explain. Yeah, have you ever guys seen a mantis shrimp? Mantis shrimp? Those things are so awesome.
Yes, super
They
cool
are
looking.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, don't they also see in like different colors? Mantis shrimp. Like
I'm not sure, but I wanted one when I had I had a saltwater tank, 100-gallon saltwater tank, like 15 years ago.
Wow, yeah, they are very beautiful.
They
look like
their fish, so I just took them in, and
they look like peacocks, but shrimp.
Yeah, they're so pretty, huh?
Yeah. Wow.
They're very, very fast and very strong. They can break your finger.
Wow.
They
That's
can.
crazy.
You should watch them. They can break all kinds of stuff when they go after something.
Yeah.
They hit really hard.
Oh yeah, they do the punch. That's what the shrimp that I was talking about does.
One.
Right.
Yeah, they do the punch.
Wow.
She'll give
so fast and so hard. I mean, it like hurts.
Wow.
I bet. Yeah, she'll give her shrimp I don't know, like some sort of rock or something, and the shrimp will take the rock into his cave and then just start punching it. And she's like, "Don't punch it."
You probably thought it was food, and she didn't give him any food.
This isn't tender enough.
Exactly. Yeah, if you have time to bring them up and look at what they can do, it's insane.
Let's see if I can.
Nobody's on this side.
I don't know how to. Let's see. Is there a way to put a video in the background? I've only figured out how to put a picture.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think most people like that pull things in the background are like screen recording or something. I don't know. Let's see if I can see if there's any video background. Yeah, everything looks. Oh, you know what I can do? Because I have. I was gonna say I do have this actually. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can download the image. Anybody want to come up? Nobody? This is crazy. I can't believe it, guys.
No, they're all just talking in the bullshit.
How come? I want to say that
Sierra's here. Sierra. Well, I don't know if Sierra's in the thing, but she's.
Well, I appreciate she being here. I got all the support.
To come up or not.
Shrimp. Let's see if I can do this. Then we'll go here and we'll throw up that for a second. Oh, you can look at the cows for a second.
I know, that's exactly what my cow used to do. So people are
Aw.
fucking stupid if they don't think cows play with balls
Yeah.
and they know what they're doing.
Oh, they're having so much fun.
Yeah, mine used to do that. My bull used to do that with me when he was little. And even when he got bigger, he'd play with me like that.
Aw. Let's see. I'll go back to this one real quick. Sorry.
But we never ate him.
Yeah. I am kind of new with OBS, so it's taking me a second. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Oh no. I'm still. Oh look, somebody came up here. No? Okay, never mind. They canceled.
Yeah, aren't they pretty? They're so pretty. They look like a parrotfish.
Yeah, they are beautiful.
Yeah.
There you go.
And wasn't it you, Anna, that didn't know where sand came from? Is it you?
No, I know where sand comes. It's sand is
Okay.
mostly silica. Oops. That's not what I meant to do.
Well, it's from the parrotfish. They eat the coral and they poop it out.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, that's all poop, but it's by a parrotfish. They have to eat it. Hi, Fifi, you want to come up?
Oh, I don't have my background.
No, it just went away.
Bam. That was fun.
I invited you, but
There we go. Okay. Well,
oh,
damn,
Ozark
guys, come
dropped.
on.
Why does Ozark drop? He had to go.
I'm still here.
Oh, I was gonna say, I see
Oh.
Ozark. I think Ozark's asking people to
Can't
come up.
see you.
Here,
Oh, I can't see your
I'll
square.
drop down. I think
Oh, there you are.
having
Yeah, you
three
are
is
there.
intimidating. Oh, I was just gonna say I'll drop down because I think having three is intimidating. I got some stuff I gotta work on anyway. So.
Okay. I appreciate it.
But
Well,
thank you so much for
you know
having
what?
me.
I might follow
Bye, Freesia.
Freesia's. I'm gonna follow Freesia's path. I'm gonna restart the live. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll
That's a
see
good
if
idea.
see if that might get more
All right.
attention. All right,
Come
so I'll be back.
Ozark.
Yeah, I'll be back in a minute. Please come back. I love you
Come
guys
back,
so much. You
Ozark.
guys are amazing. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right, I think I got it going. Sorry, that took me a minute. I closed my window, so then I had to put my settings all back on. Sorry, that took me a minute. Okay, I think I have everything. Okay, I'll switch my background back to this, that. There we go. Hey guys, sorry, I was supposed to be right back, but just took a second. So, how do you morally justify not being vegan? Animals are sentient just like you and I. If we care about our subjective experience, what we are experiencing for life, if we care about our capacities to suffer and we want that respected, want that acknowledged, if we demand that, we should reflect that same respect to other beings that are able to have a subjective experience and therefore able to suffer, feel joy, want to continue making preferences. We can assume safely that all sentient beings, prefer to not feel harm. And if we can avoid causing someone's oppression or demanding it, if we can avoid causing someone harm, we should. Just like if we were the one that was about to experience the harm, we would want our experiences considered. And, whoever is using us to stop using us. Hey, Ozark.
Hey, back.
You're back. Welcome back. We'll see if we can get our numbers back up. It's kind of frustrating. I feel like, sorry, my microphone's too close. It's frustrating because it feels like if I go crazy, that's when I get the most amount of people in here. Like if I'm just yelling at people, it's like I don't want to just yell at people.
It's exhausting for sure.
Exactly. Hey,
But
Lauren.
feel free to rage bait away.
Rage bait away, yeah. I don't like doing it because it feels gross. It's just
Yeah,
it's
I
just
get
something
that.
I notice every time. I'm like when am just naturally losing it and then I see the numbers and I'm like, "Damn it. Why is it
Yeah,
this that you're listening to?"
you have somebody in the queue, but I don't know. He doesn't have a profile, so it's up to you if you want to take a chance. I'll have my finger ready if
Yeah.
he
Bring
says
him
something
up.
smart.
Go for it. Let's do it.
Okay.
We'll give him a chance.
Oh, let's see.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Are you over
Okay.
18?
Yeah, I'm 27.
Okay, cool. So how do you morally justify not being vegan?
So I have a specific GI condition that is really conducive to me having a high protein, low carb diet, and it's almost impossible to. I've tried doing my diet plant based; it's like almost impossible. So I have to make a decision between how I physically feel or the moral worth of an animal. And quite frankly, I value my physical, quality of life over some animal. To be honest with you.
Okay, so let's say you didn't have this condition. Would you then find it to be a moral obligation to live vegan?
So I would put it this way, I would understand the moral arguments for it, but even then I'm not a moralist. Just a bit of context so you can understand my worldview. I was raised in a strict evangelical Christian home, but I'm gay, so I ended up, leaving my family and my church altogether, moving up to New York. And I was raised in like a moralist system where, people always said you have to do this or it's immoral, or you have to do that or it's immoral. So I've sort of grown to reject moralism in general, wherever it comes from. It can come from religious people, it can come from vegans. But quite frankly, I think, morals are just something that humans made up. And what one society says is moral can be totally different from what another society says is moral. So
Okay.
I don't
All
orient
right.
my
All
life
right.
around
I
moralism.
I got it. I got it. Okay. So I'm not trying to force my morals onto you because I don't
Right.
think I'm a perfect being. What I'm saying is I think that you and I already share similar principles, even with
Right.
morality being
Right.
subjective, right? Like, do you agree that putting a dog in a hot car is immoral?
So, well, I might people
Yeah,
in
just you.
certain
No,
regions
no,
of
no, no, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
Stop. Just you. Just
yeah,
you.
I personally would let the dog out of the car and not
Right.
let it
You would
suffer.
find it if I did this. You wouldn't think I'm a moral person. Just you. You wouldn't think that I am a moral person for leaving my dog in a hot car.
Can
Correct.
I?
Yeah, I
Go ahead,
personally would
Ozark.
find that cruel, but like, sorry, Ozark, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you real quick, and then also mention like, even though morals are subjective, and it's something that we've developed. Everybody has their own ethical system, and that's what we're addressing. Is our own ethical systems and the consistency of whether we actually practice them or not. But I
I
wanted
get
to
what you're
ask you,
saying.
like, do you know what veganism actually is?
From what I gather, and I'm not going to say I'm an expert, so correct me if I'm wrong. It's basically a philosophical and dietary practice that avoids the consumption of any and all animal products. But it's not just dietary. That's when it's just dietary, it's referred to as a plant-based diet. It's almost like metaphysical in a way for some people, where it has like a philosophical component to it.
So that's close. It's a philosophy that aims to exclude wherever practicable and possible the unnecessary exploitation of other sentient beings. Right. So I can't judge you on how severe your health is, but do you agree that within your own moral practice, like do you believe that it is wrong to unnecessarily exploit others just based on the principle of pleasure alone?
Do I think it's immoral to exploit people based on the basis of pleasure alone?
Not just people, but sentient beings. I mean, people are also animals. That's why I say just others, because I've yet to hear any like morally relevant trait that separates us from them. So
Yeah. So my whole argument is like I see where you're going with this, and like I'll concede that yeah, it's immoral, but I don't orient my life around morality. I orient my life around what is efficient for my quality of life.
So paradox,
I'm unapologetically selfish.
paradox. What if you were in the cage? What would you want
Oh, I'd
your
be
oppressor?
screwed.
What would you want?
I
What
would
would you?
accept my fate. I would accept that
What
I'm
would?
screwed and I'm
Okay,
gonna.
hush. Can you let me finish the question? Like you're just jumping
Sure.
ahead.
Sorry.
Would you prefer that your oppressor stop or just continue to use you knowing that they don't have to? What would you prefer?
I would accept that I am
No,
the
that's
victim.
not what
in an
that's not no, you're not answering my question because you know where I'm going and that this totally unravels your point.
Obviously, I would personally prefer to be treated
Exactly.
nicely.
Now, why
but
do
I
you
wouldn't
think
expect
why
to
is it
be.
so hard for you to answer that?
Because it's more nuanced than that. You're not letting me explain
It's
the
not.
nuance.
It's
Yes,
not.
it is.
It's
Allow me to
that
explain the
simple.
nuance.
No, see,
I
when
don't-
you
if I
no no
was ki-
see when you try to make it more complicated than it is, that's you putting yourself in a pretzel to cope with now
All
the
right.
idea that you're causing an innocent individual suffering for no reason. You're coping right now.
Can I give you an example? If I was kidnapped by Somalian pirates and they were going to torture me and take my life, I wouldn't like that, but I would accept
Right.
I'm their
You would
bitch.
want to, but
I'm
you,
their bitch.
oh my God. You are ridiculous.
The world.
So
Okay,
you
I
don't
think
think
you're
we should try to do anything?
yeah, I
Go
think you're
ahead.
largely
Go ahead,
avoiding the
Ozark.
question. And like the question is just basically, do you think that would be right or wrong? It's a simple question. Like in your own perspective, do you think it's okay for Somali pirates to kidnap people?
In my own perspective, I think right or wrong doesn't matter, and all that matters is
No,
power
it does.
dynamics.
You
Coward.
make decisions based
All that
on right
matters
or
is
wrong.
power dynamics. The
You're a
world doesn't
coward.
Do you
operate on
wake up every
morality.
morning,
The
like,
world
just look-
operates.
Like seriously, like you're avoiding the question because you wake up and you make
I
decisions.
agree with you.
based
I
on
wouldn't
what you
want them to
believe are-
hurt me. I agree
Hold
with you.
on.
I wouldn't want them to hurt
Hold
me,
on,
but it doesn't
Fredo.
matter.
Fredo, stop talking over him.
So okay, so you agree it would be wrong for them to hurt you, but just the situation in general, according to your own, like you wake up and you make decisions based on what you believe are right and wrong every day. I guarantee it. Everybody does, right? Based on your own ethical principles that you've developed and you practice every day because you can't say you don't have them. You do. Everybody does. Whether they're lacking or not, everybody has an ethical line. Do you think that the situation of Somali pirates kidnapping people is acceptable according to your own ideals?
I think morals can only be enforced by power structures. So if there's no
I'm
power
talking about
structure
you.
to
I'm not
enforce your
talking-
morals, it doesn't matter.
But
It literally, your
but
morals
do
don't
you
matter.
personally- You're avoiding it. Like, do you personally think that it's
No, I don't think
acceptable?
I think it's acceptable if the Somali pirates can manage to kidnap someone, then they got that person. They won.
That's
They
not
had
what
the
I'm
upper hand in
asking
the
you.
power
Like,
dynamics.
that's not what I'm asking you. I don't know why it's such
I think
a
it's
hard
morally
question.
acceptable. There you go. Yeah, because
You
I don't
think
believe
it's
in
morally
morals.
acceptable. All right, you're morally bankrupt.
Exactly. That's once we get to the point of humans don't have human rights. Okay, clearly you don't understand morality or logic.
And based on his response, I don't believe for a day that he has any medical condition that's preventing him.
Oh, no. I honestly, a lot of the times when people bring that up, there are some people that are genuine. And I definitely, you can hear the difference in them because one is like, okay, I do start to care about the animals, but I do genuinely have this issue. Can I, what do I do about it? Versus, this is my reason and you can't change it. There's just like, I don't know. I guess it's also mindset. It doesn't necessarily mean they have it or don't, but it does feel like when people bring it up as just an excuse, they're using it just that as an excuse. It's not really an obstacle. They're just relying on it so that they don't have to make change.
Yeah,
Frustrates
the
me.
biggest issue there though is it's like, okay, we understand that you might have an issue, but do you think that like you should abstain as much as you can from the unnecessary exploitation that you might have to engage in? And that was a hard question to answer for them. So
Yeah, that person just kept saying, morality is subjective, essentially.
You have two in the queue, Anne. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
two. You want one up?
Yeah, sure. Throw one at us.
Okay. I hope it's not a kid.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Hey, what's up? How's your day going so far?
Good. Matt, are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm 20.
What year were you
July
born?
25th. What?
Okay.
All
So
right, word. So,
how do you morally
uh,
justify not being vegan?
well, here's the thing. You can't blame animals for killing other animals, am I correct? And how
Yeah,
different are we from animals? At the very base of humans, we are made of the same building blocks as, say, a wolf, as a bear,
so I want to
as a
understand.
rat.
I want to understand your point because someone over there is doing something possibly immoral. You now have the justification to do something immoral. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, not at all. I'm saying that it's just a fact of life that you're going to have to gain nutrition somehow. It
Yeah, you
is,
can eat plants.
but have you considered that farming actually kills more animals than
Hey,
actual
Matt, I'm a
meat farms?
farmer. Don't
So
spread
the
lies.
rabbits, the
Don't
squirrels.
go there.
Please
Just,
don't
Well,
just
spread
don't go
lies.
there,
There are
Matt.
over
I don't
the
like your guys'
statistics.
condescending tone, though. I'm being
No,
very
no, Matt,
respectful. I
listen, I'm a
respect the same
farmer,
respect.
and you're lying about agricultural statistics.
You're
I
muted
kind of
right.
take that
Keep
personally.
yourself on mute, Matt, if you can't keep your mouth shut.
So I just wanted to briefly explain that there are over 100 billion animals that are exploited and have their lives taken every year. The global statistic of animals that actually die from field deaths and crop farming is about like 7.3 billion, and the most of that number is attributed to animal agriculture. So significantly more animals are being harmed for animal agriculture. So I just wanted to clarify that with you, so that way next time you engage in a conversation, you already understand that.
Okay, I got you. There's no real way to judge a metric of how many animals are killed through farming. But also another point that you
Your
did bring up that I
argument.
do find interesting
That was
is
your
that,
argument. You came up
well,
here
no.
saying
It's
you,
just
and then just like,
it's
there's no
very
way to
easy to measure how
discover.
many animals you kill
Anybody
for
else
food
hear that?
purposes. It is
Yeah,
very
I
hard
know.
to measure how many animals you
Hey
kill
Matt, do you
during
know what the
agriculture.
difference between a moral patient and a moral agent is? Because that was another
So the
point
issue
you
is
brought up.
morality here. It's about how the animals are treated. So what do you think about hunters that live off
Hold
their
on.
land
Do
and
do
hunt?
you know what veganism is?
No, not really. I would
All
love
right,
to really find a definition from a true vegan because I have not
so
done some research on this.
veganism is a philosophy that aims to exclude, wherever practicable and possible, the exploitation of other sentient beings, right?
Okay, so
Um,
you don't have an issue with eating animals that you hunt. You have an issue with animals that are
no,
farmed,
it's
is what you're saying.
if you're unnecessarily exploiting somebody when you have other options, then there's an ethical issue there. That's what we're addressing.
Okay, so that brings you back to the question of how is it morally wrong if I were to, say, grab a .308 rifle, go out into the wilderness, kill a deer, and bring it back home and prepare it
Do you
and cook it?
shop at a grocery store to get other nutrition?
Well, here's the thing. For
That's a
some
yes or
people,
no
that is out
question,
of the
Matt.
question. Like, I have some
We're
friends
not
that
we're
live.
not talking about the
Excuse me,
people that
excuse me.
have to.
Do you mind if I speak, please?
Well, you're
I
not
was
answering
very
the
respectful. I
question
let
though.
you speak quite a bit, and you
But
have been
I
interrupting me
asked you a
constantly.
question. I
No,
asked
no,
you
no,
a
no, no, sir,
question
sir,
and you
sir.
didn't
I can
answer.
only answer one question at a time. Please give me the respect I show you. That is the bare minimum I.
But you're not giving him respect because he tried to talk to you quite a few times and you wouldn't stop talking.
You're not answering the question directly. I'm just looking for a direct answer. Like, do you
Okay, can you
shop at
re-ask that question, please?
yeah, do you personally, not other people that might have to rely on it, but do you personally shop at a grocery store to get other nutrition?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay, so that means that going out and exploiting others is an unnecessary practice because there are options available.
But what if I'm short on money and I want to go fishing and catch a tilapia for food?
So that's
I
what.
do
So
not.
let's say that is the case for you. Um, like I said, wherever practicable and possible. I know that there's some people on the planet that actually have to practice that for their survival. But realistically, that's not your situation. And plant diets are significantly less expensive than animal inclusive diets.
Well, so what you're saying here is that it's not okay to eat animals unless you're required to eat animals. Is that what I'm hearing here?
Any exploitation, yes. If it's necessary, Like you have a justification. It still might be a rights violation, but you have a justification for it. If it's not something that's necessary, don't you think that people should abstain from going and exploiting others when they don't have to? Because at that point, it's a desire.
Okay, so this is going to be a stupid question, but what would you consider necessary to hunt? What would you deem as okay to say, I'm not going to go to a grocery store, I'm going to go hunt for my food and kill my food and get my food in other methods? What is justifiable in your perspective?
If you don't have that option available.
Okay, so
Or-
and
or if it's
what does that
extremely
mean though? That you
impractical
don't
to
have
do.
that option available? Like you don't
If
have
you
the
can't-
means to go to a grocery store, you don't have the money for a grocery store. Like what does that include?
If you don't have the means and you need to survive, and the only way you can survive practically is by hunting, which isn't the case for like most hunters on the planet, then that's a necessity. Like let's use people that like might live in the Arctic Circle. Agriculture is like almost impossible in a lot of those places, and transportation up there is significantly tough and expensive. We wouldn't be having this conversation with somebody that lives in that kind of situation.
Okay, but what I'm still trying to get is that so it is morally wrong for me if I do not want to spend money on food to go out and catch a fish and cook it.
If
So
you're
that
spending
is still
money on
morally
food,
wrong, correct? In your
You are
perspective?
spending money. You are spending money on food. You
No,
don't have to.
not really. If
You're-
if I were to go out and say make a spear and go spear
told me
tilapia,
that
which I've done before
You're not
with my
doing
friends.
that though. You're getting a lot of your nutrition elsewhere. You're being disingenuous.
Well, it's
The
not
point
disingenuous.
is, the point
I'm-
is too that if you have access to a grocery store, picking up a spear is immoral because with your logic, I could go eat my neighbor, right? That's $0.
Well, here's the thing. It's a
Or my
little
neighbor's dog.
that is
Or I could
a
go
pretty
adopt a
good
dog and
analysis.
go eat
That
that
is a pretty
dog.
good take. I will give you that. But here's
Exactly.
the thing.
So what's wrong with me eating my neighbor?
Well, here's the thing. There is nothing wrong besides modern society's take on things. If you were to go back to
No. So you're telling me you don't even believe in human rights? You don't think that we should respect other humans?
well, here's the thing. Humans don't respect other humans. That's just a fact of life.
Matt, are you seriously this big of a coward? We're talking to you, your moral framework. Stop dodging. Stop hiding behind
my
other
moral
people.
framework says
Why
this.
are
If
you,
prompted to, I
what
will
morally
consume a
justifies your use? You. Yeah.
Here's the thing. If prompted
Here's
to,
the
yes, I will
thing,
consume
Dodge.
another human if need be. That does not mean I
Exactly.
will go out
Why
and consume
don't
another
you
human
why
being
don't
because
you
they are more
demand
readily
hush,
available.
honey, hush. Why don't you exploit humans? Why don't you demand humans be farmed so you can nom on their insides?
Because first off, there's a disease called Kuru, which
Nope,
is
that's only if they're infected. And if you eat the brain, that's where it's
yeah.
concentrated.
Well, here's the thing. That
Only if you eat the brain, Matt.
yeah, if you still eat a human,
If
you have a
they are
chance of
not
getting
infected,
other foodborne pathogens.
Matt, if
But
they are
look,
not
regardless-
infected, look, Matt, regardless of your point, what I'm saying is human flesh is just as dangerous as animal flesh. As long as you cook it, it'll be equally as safe. So why don't we farm humans and eat the cuts that we know are safe?
Well, because it's not practical. It's a lot.
Oh, it's
harder
very
to do.
practical. There's so many of us, and there's many of us that we don't like. We consider them lesser humans. So why don't we breed them?
Such a thing as lesser
Take their-
humans. So you're a
take
racist?
their-
Is that what I'm getting at?
See, coward again. You cannot handle it. You cannot handle the truth that you are the oppressor and that you would want mercy. You can't grant that to somebody else. Stupid.
Dip, duck, dodge, weave, and dip.
That's exactly what he's doing. He just kept, I'm going to hide behind this group. Now this group. Now this group. It's like,
he's
can you
just all
answer
over
for
the
yourself? Yeah.
This is all over the place.
Answer for yourself. I'm not going to go in the merry-go-round that you enjoy so much. Once we've answered your questions, that's it. Like, not going to keep going around.
Here's Mud Shark. Hopefully he's not a kid.
Also-
I don't know why Ben's
Al-
having so much trouble loading on.
I was going to say, like, I was
Hello,
trying.
guys.
hold on one second, Mud Shark.
Come on, Mud Shark.
So Ben, I see that it says on one side that you're here, and for some reason you're not loaded, but it still says your name in an empty space. I do not know
Maybe you
what's
should
going
go down
on.
and come back.
He did.
Can you speak?
Yeah,
Really?
I already tried logging off and
Oh,
closing
we
the
can
app.
hear you.
Oh,
Oh, we can hear you
Yeah.
now.
It's weird. Like on my side, I see like the whole like 9-panel like square. Like the app is like
weird.
lagging out or something. But yeah.
Okay,
We can
cool.
hear you though. So
Yeah, and we it doesn't
You're
look
good to
weird.
go now.
I'm sorry that you can't see everything though. Not that there's anything really to look at, but awesome. Well, I appreciate you being up here, Ben. I just wanted to, because I saw that you were struggling. I wanted to tell you, like, I see you, and I was trying to mess with the moderator, but it won't even recognize that you're in here. Like, it wouldn't even look up your name for some reason.
Yeah,
So
I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I
I don't
appreciate
know
you
either.
having me up. And,
Yeah, thank you
hope
for being
everybody's
up here.
doing well.
Yeah. Also, Ozark, you should also be able to mute people now.
awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. All right, Mud Shark. You can unmute yourself. Are you over 18 at least?
Yes.
Okay.
Was born March 21st, 2007.
Okay.
So I am 18.
Perfect. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Yeah.
So you said, how do you morally how do you morally justify not being vegan?
So I'm gonna say my take on the dietary side.
Okay.
I stay away from meat, and the reason I stay away from meat because animals died in fear, which is low vibration, and I don't believe in consuming in a low vibration. So I don't believe in that. But as far as
Let's
the
say they
moral
were high
compass,
vibration. Let's say they were high
they
vibration.
weren't. Well, you can't die. When you die from fear, it's low vibration, so it's not possible,
What if I put
right?
them to sleep first?
That doesn't happen typically. If you put them to sleep, I don't know that animal's vibration, right?
I
So
just
that's
want
just
to. I just want to ask really quick. Like they're talking about vibration. I'm assuming this is from a spiritual perspective. Don't you like? Do you think that the act of willingly, unnecessarily ending somebody else's life itself would be lower vibration?
it could. It just depends on why you killed something.
Well, we're not talking about out of necessity. We're talking about out of desire, which is why most people
Oh,
consume animals
yeah.
anyway.
Any desire, especially physical ones, are very low vibration. Yeah, yeah. But when you're talking about morally justifying something, um, well, you really can't. If I like, you can't because morals are a construct, which means it was created by humans. It's not objective. Now,
Well, I
But we
wouldn't.
all have our own morals.
Yeah, I was going
we
to
do.
say
That's what I'm trying to
animals
tell
have
you. We
morals
all,
too.
um,
They care for their own. We have studies on mice
it's more of
even.
an instinct.
No, no, no.
It's
Let
more
me
of a,
explain. Let me explain. There have been studies on mice, unfortunately, where they'll put a mouse in a precarious situation, and another mouse is let out, and the mouse decides between getting treats all to themselves or releasing the other mouse and sharing the treats. And about 60% of the time, which is on par with humans, 60% of the time they would go and help the mouse first and share the treats. So that shows that animals do show compassion for another being. They can relate with someone else's suffering and think, I don't, if I don't
okay.
want to do that, then maybe I should stop them from experiencing that. But even though they may have some idea of what morality is, they're like children, right? Children can sometimes do things that are immoral and not really understand it, but still have other ideas of morality, right? You understand that?
I'm
Children will,
understanding what you're saying
okay.
completely.
So we're
And
relating
okay,
how the children are to the animals, right? They're both moral patients. They may have some understanding of some kind of morality, but they don't fully understand it. So therefore, moral agents like you and I, who can weigh out right and wrong, have a moral obligation to not take advantage of them just because they're vulnerable to us, right?
yeah. So I guess my question would be: do you believe we were born with a certain morality system, or it is an influential thing, right?
I think that I don't really know totally everything that shapes all of our morals because it's like our experiences and what we go through. So it's both environmental, and I think we also have some instinct for it because it did help us survive as coming together helped us live longer, right?
I think
Yeah.
I think empathy is a common human trait, so much that people that lack empathy are usually diagnosed with a personality disorder.
That's true.
So I think it's logical to say that humans are generally born with a level of empathy.
Right. Okay.
I do
Right.
want to
But
add
our
though,
moral.
I do think it's both, because like animals out in the wild, when they're out of fight or flight mode, they do show more of that compassion and morality. That's why I think animals also have this, but they're not in the same luxurious situation of time and space. So go ahead.
Right. But compassion and morality are like, because morality is like good and bad. That's more of what morality is. What's right and what's wrong. And we are constructed with morality. Yes, are we born with an innate compassion and empathy towards others? Absolutely. I don't know who denies that. But good and bad is what we are taught from the womb or
I mean,
coming out of the
like,
womb. So,
morality is more about how we think we should interact with each other, right?
Yeah, and
absolutely.
anybody can be conditioned into or out of specific traits that they have over time. That's called like learned traits, right? So
Absolutely.
you see like young children, they generally don't want to harm animals. When they see animals getting harmed, they're usually in distress. Children that don't display that are, again, they're pre-screened for potential, future personality disorders.
And those children probably seen more than others, right? I mean, if you don't show empathy towards something, that can also be learned. Um, we know that psychopaths, that's a built disorder. You weren't. No
Not,
one's
not,
born a
not
psycho. No one's born a
people with
psychopath.
that. People with that are generally born with a deformity in their frontal lobe, in the area that generally expresses empathy. I think you're thinking about antisocial personality disorder, which is something that's generally a learned trait out of like early childhood trauma and abuse.
Okay. So, but still, like I was saying, morality is still a construct. In the end, you can't deny that morality is a construct. It's not
Okay.
a.
Okay. So the point is that because we're kind of getting off topic here. The point is, you know what's right and wrong. You can weigh out a situation. That's the point. The animals that you're using, you're not considering their consent, their preferences, none of that. You are a moral agent. Does that sound like something a moral agent should do to a moral patient?
I mean, it just depends on the person. For me,
Not just you. I'm just talking to
killing,
you.
killing, killing something, killing.
Say
Uh,
unaliving, because the K
oh,
word
I'm
will get
sorry.
my.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
okay.
Okay. Unaliving an animal as a hunter, in my opinion, is not wrong. I will not. I wouldn't do it myself. But
So
just
do
because
you
I wouldn't do it myself.
did we give you the definition of veganism? Did you understand what it is?
Well, can you enlighten me?
Yeah, it's the principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. So I don't want to demand, by going into our supply and demand system, right? Capitalism. I don't want to demand that someone else be put into that system. Every time you pick up a package, every time you even go to a friend's house and you accept animal products, you're saying, I like this, and they're going to replace that. And to replace that, they have to send the next individual in there. So as a vegan, I'm saying I principally am looking for all the ways that I can avoid demanding that. Because if I were in their situation, if I were the animal, just because I think differently and I'm a different shape, I would still want my oppressor to consider the fact that I'm having my own experience and I'm making preferences, and I have an interest in continuing to live. Everything that happens to me, I care about. I don't care if I'm dumber. I still care about what happens to me, right?
Right.
So,
That's because you are you. Of course, you're gonna care what happens to
so
you,
let's
and I'm
say,
gonna care what happens to me.
right.
Right.
So if you were them, if you were the one in the cage and the oppressor was going to use you, would you rather they stop, or would you rather they continue knowing that they don't need to use you?
Well, of course, I'd rather them stop, but
Me
you're
too.
confusing,
I'm
huh?
not confusing anything. You can't tell me the moral difference, the morally relevant difference that justifies doing what we do to animals, but not treating humans in the same manner? Why is it okay to do it to the
Well,
animals?
humans and animals first are not the same, right? So
We are
the
animals.
way
We are animals. And in some ways, many of our human brothers and sisters are actually very similar to our brothers and sisters of other species.
you
Like
mean
we
like
have
the
humans that are not the average cognition. We have humans that are not shaped like the average human, right? We still respect those humans, or at least we find it immoral to exploit them just because they're vulnerable, because they're having their own subjective experience. They can suffer. They care what happens to them, even if they're a lower IQ or a different shape, right? Humans.
right? A human is maybe an
So,
animal, but an animal is not a human.
Mud, did you
It's
hear
not.
anything I just said?
I absolutely did.
Okay, so the population that I'm talking about, the people that they don't meet the average, right? They're way below average. What morally is the difference between those humans and animals that justifies what we do to animals, but not justify to do to them? Why is it okay to do what we do to animals, but not do it to the population I just described?
That population is still us. That population is still human. There's no less human because they're not average.
So I
Okay, they're
agree.
still
I agree.
human.
What is it about those humans? What is it you're relating about? Because they're not
We
as
have
intelligent as you,
okay,
and they may
right?
not be the same shape. So what is it that you value in them?
The soul, not a spirit. The
Their
soul.
experience. You can't
No,
prove
I
that
value
anybody has
this.
a soul. You can't prove anybody, but we
Yeah.
can prove that people are having an experience. We
Are you
can talk
familiar?
about. Go ahead. Sorry,
Oh,
Ozark.
sorry. I was gonna
No,
say, are
please.
you familiar with the term speciesism?
Can you explain it to me?
Yeah,
I may.
speciesism is the unfounded assumption of human superiority that leads to the exploitation of non-human animals. Essentially, your argument when you say, well, they're still human, that's an argument from speciesism because you're not providing any other morally relevant different trait other than our genetic makeup compared to their genetic makeup.
You don't understand. Yeah, I'm not saying that humans are superior. I'm
Well,
saying
when
the
you're
reason
saying it's not
humans.
okay, when you're saying it's not okay to exploit others just because they're human, but it is okay for people to exploit other non-human animals because they're not human, that's pretty much what you're implying.
But it's coming from us being humans. It has nothing to do with superiority.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Superiority is to say that.
when you say it's
Go ahead.
because we're humans, that's what you're implying. Because we are humans, we shouldn't do that to each other. But because they are not humans, we can't do that to them. That's looking at them as inferior to us, which makes it acceptable for us to exploit them and not us.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I truly do.
Sure.
I
So
understand.
when we look at speciesism, I'm not saying that by any means it's the same, but it's analogous to the other types of isms, like sexism or racism and other types of
Yes,
behaviors that people display that lead to the oppression of others.
but those isms exist. Other than speciesism or whatever that is, it exists within the humans.
Yes,
Racism is a
like I said,
human.
like I said, it's not the same. I said it's analogous.
Okay,
Right? Like
right.
it's not the same. I'm not saying that at all, and that's why I really try to emphasize that it's not the same, but it's still a form of oppression based on an arbitrary line that we draw between us and them.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. All right, so we're on the same page right now. I am saying because we have, not even just because we're humans, because we have souls, right? Eh, We are we are indifferent to animals. Animals
Have
don't
you
have
ever spent
souls.
time with dogs?
Dogs, yes.
Yes. Have
Um,
you seen? Have you like observed their behaviors?
you're referring to their spirits, right? Yeah,
I'm like so because you're saying that humans have souls, but you're saying that other animals don't have souls when you can
they
clearly
don't.
see that like dogs they each have their own individual personality. You
That,
can't even like physically prove that you or I do or don't have a soul. That's an assumption that you're making. But what we can observe are these personality traits or other species traits that is independent to them versus us, that they do have a subjective reality and they experience it, and it's the most important thing to them just as ours is to us.
what you're saying is true. Um, to have a soul and to have a spirit is what you're getting confused. I never said dogs and animals don't have spirits, right? I never said
It
this.
doesn't
I
matter
said
because if the
it kind
only
of
thing, no,
does.
it doesn't, because a soul just means that there's an afterlife for them, right? So if they don't have a soul, that means all they have is right here, right now. And you're using that as a justification to make their one and only existence shorter for your taste pleasure. Because we know for a fact,
Well,
whether they have a soul or not, they can suffer. And that's all that
well,
matters.
your definition of a soul is incorrect.
No,
Spirits
you're not
also
hearing me
live
though.
on.
I don't care
I
what a
am
soul
hearing you.
is. You're not listening. That's the issue.
Keep
It
bouncing.
doesn't matter if they have a soul or they don't, or they have all their limbs or they don't. Or if they're as smart as us. What matters is they're having a subjective experience just like you. You're having your own experience of the world, right? You're making your own preferences. You like certain things, and you have an interest in continuing to make more preferences. You care what happens to you. All sentient beings share this, and you're demeaning it for someone who just looks different so that you can lick their insides.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, don't you think that makes it even worse if they have only one life to experience without the possibility of an afterlife, to prematurely terminate that
Yeah,
because
and you're
somebody
not
wants to
just
enjoy a
hurting.
burger?
And I just
You're not just hurting the animals. You're hurting the earth, the air, the water, and
okay.
everything else.
Right. So I'm listening, and this is why I can tell you guys may not be listening because I just said you you misinterpreted what a soul is and a spirit. A spirit does live on. A spirit doesn't have just a body. A spirit leaves the body. Now we can
Matter if they
squash
have a
that. We
spirit
can
or a
squash
soul.
that. Yeah,
Why
we can
does it
squash it.
matter? Yeah, okay, good. So it doesn't
So I'm
matter.
gonna ask. I'm gonna ask you something about your moral compass. Do you believe cutting down trees?
Mud, I'm about to move on because this is about you. Okay, I'm asking, why aren't you vegan? Trees?
Because I'm trying.
The
Yeah, and
majority of trees are cut down for livestock grazing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
That's what's
80% of
happening to the trees.
deforestation. Yeah, 80% of deforestation happens to feed livestock.
Right, but trees are a sentient being. They are. They have spirits.
You see
This is
why I don't
true.
think you're listening? They just told
Sorry.
you that trees are being taken down for the animals that you use. We have to make room for them and their food. And you go on about how trees are sentient. You're the one demanding more sentient trees be chopped down. See
Okay,
how
so
why
what you're
I don't
saying
think you're
is
listening?
okay. No, I'm listening. So you're saying basically the people who are using these animals to kill them, unalive them. I'm sorry. That's most of the deforestation in the world.
Yeah, a
It's going to
large
these
part of
livestock.
deforestation,
Okay,
specifically
that's
like
fine.
in the Amazon, for example, 80 to 90% of the trees being taken down are for cattle and their food.
Keyword being unnecessarily taken down. That's
Yes.
the big issue. It's unnecessary.
And if
So
we
if you
Yeah, I'm
were,
think
hearing
that
you.
trees are sentient and have a soul, but you think it's okay for people to exploit other animals, like that's contradictory to like whether you're compassionate to trees or not, because you're compassionate to trees, but you're also accepting of the fact that the largest amount of trees are cut down to feed this livestock.
Okay, where you guys are going, where your argument fails, right, is that because animals are sentient beings, they should have the same I wouldn't say rights as a human, but the same ability to be
respect.
treated respect, right? But the
Moral
problem is,
consideration.
okay, the problem is most things, if not everything, is sentient. Right?
Again, if you're
Right?
trying to say that plants are sentient, if we steel man your argument, they're not sentient. They don't have a brain or a central nervous system. But let's say they are.
Is that
Again,
what sentient
most,
means?
yeah, it means to be able to experience subjective feelings like pain and joy. Plants don't have the organs that are necessary to express that. They're so slow with their signals, it's just response to chemical reactions. They're just bumping into things and they happen to survive their environments. So we're not, even if though, like let's say that you're right, plants are sentient, right? They feel, therefore we should consider them morally. We've already said to you many times, we grow more plants, we take down more trees for animals, and we feed them more plants. Most of our crops are fed to animals that we use. If we stopped using them, we could reduce our land use by 75% and still feed
Yeah,
everybody. Go ahead, Ozark.
80% of all agricultural land is dedicated to livestock, and 52% of that is arable land that we grow crops on, right? We grow enough food without the animals that we produce to feed 10 billion people. That means all of that additional like plant life that's lost is also unnecessary when we support animal agriculture. So there's a bit of a logical inconsistency within your reasoning.
Okay. Okay. So I can't hear anyone, by the way, right now. But so I answered your question. I did. It
Can
says
you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. I do
I
have
answered.
I have a button over here. It doesn't show it on the screen, so.
Okay. I've answered your question. Can you morally justify not being vegan? I said you can't because of the construct. And then you guys told me, forget about the construct. What about you? I tried to explain it with the soul thing. You didn't want to hear it. So I'm just gonna say you cannot morally justify not being a vegan because it doesn't make sense. Morals is dependent on the person and the time.
Mud.
So do you personally think it is okay to exploit others for your own pleasure?
And that general question, that's a very general question. No, I just don't.
It's pretty specific actually, and that's a logical answer. I really believe that most people we talk to don't, but that's what I'm trying to express, and that I think that's what you're missing about veganism, is it opposes the unnecessary exploitation of others. Because when people unnecessarily exploit others, they're doing it out of desire, which means they're doing it for their own pleasure or their own gain unnecessarily.
Right.
So perhaps you're having a bit of trouble understanding what the vegan argument is. Do you
No,
consume
I
any
don't.
animal products at all?
I no. I mean, if you
Do you
count
eat like
clothes, wool, and then
yeah,
yeah.
that's an animal product. Do you consume like dairy or eggs?
No, or eggs. Eggs. See with the eggs, not all chickens. I watch my eggs because not all chickens. It's not. That's not done out of fear. They're not killing every chicken who lays eggs, right?
Yeah, but in the industry, like when eggs are hatched, like there are like billions of male chicks a year that just get sent down a conveyor belt into a grinder
Right.
because
That's
of
not
people's
right.
egg consumption, right? So it's
So
still supporting a very low vibrational situation, as you would put
I,
it.
I want to touch on your awareness as a vegan, right? Do you not understand that your pleasure always has a counter to someone suffering? So the
My
phones,
my pleasure doesn't come at the expense of exploiting others, though.
it does innately, it does. To have pleasure,
Innately, it
there's always
doesn't
going to be
because I
beings who
don't.
suffer.
Okay, so suffering is not exploitation. We can remove all of the exploitation in the world, and all of the harmful things that we do in the world. Everybody is still going to suffer. Harm is impossible to avoid, right? And even if harm was impossible to avoid, everybody will
It's
still
not
suffer. So
right.
that's not the point here. We're talking about exploitation. Do you know what exploitation means?
Enlighten me again.
So it's using somebody else unfairly to benefit yourself.
And you don't think we do that? You don't think
Oh,
we do that?
humans do. Like that's why we're having this discussion, because it is like like our society is systemically exploitive, and it is perpetuated by 98% of the population.
Yes, but the whole thing about being vegan is if you use the products, you're supporting it, right?
No, like when we consume like plant-based foods, as long as like labor practices are not exploitive and we can identify that, then we're not doing anything exploitive when it comes to
No,
animal
no.
agriculture.
That's no. I understand. I'm saying as a vegan, you believe people who consume these products of exploitation, they're supporting it, right?
Yeah, they're paying for it to happen. Like that's
Hmm.
exactly support for it, because I'm sure like you said you're 18, so you're right out of high school. I'm sure you took an economics class. Like you know how supply and demand probably works, at least the base idea
Absolutely.
of it, right? So when people
Yeah.
go and demand a product, then the supply increases. You
So
know,
what is
and
your thoughts
animal
on?
consumption. I
So what
just
is your
wanted to
thoughts
say
on?
that
Okay.
I just
I'm
wanted to
sorry.
say an animal consumption is actually disproportionate to wealthier populations
Right. So what do
because
you
they
want?
can afford the
So
demand.
can you tell me a vegan's thought process on child labor and those products? Right.
Yeah, we're against that. We're against all forms of exploitation. But like I said, I mean, 98% of the population perpetuates the cycle. It's almost impossible for anybody to completely be exploitation free. And it doesn't matter how much due diligence you do on a product, you might not find the answer, and there still might be a level of exploitation involved. But it is, would you agree that you should still try your best to not unnecessarily exploit others if you can, versus instead of it existing, just going hay on it and doing all of the exploitation you want because you can?
I would agree with that, but when you're saying that is what you're saying to me is that vegans are essentially hypocrites because they may not be trying
No,
to be hypocrites, but they're essentially
no.
hypocrites.
I don't think you understand what hypocrisy means. It's almost impossible to live in our society without some level of exploitation.
No, it is
That
impossible.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's
Right.
impossible. So if it were possible and vegans were still doing that, then yes, you could call them hypocrites. But in an impossible situation, nobody's a hypocrite when they eliminate as much as they possibly can.
No, you can eliminate all of it. Actually,
No,
you
you,
can just
you
live off.
can't.
No, you
You
can
can't.
actually. You can
Not
just live.
practically.
Yeah, not
Mudlark,
practically, but
you're
you
being
can.
ridiculous. You're being ridiculous. We're
I'm not being
asking, yes,
ridiculous.
we're talking about doing what you can do practicably and possibly. That means to the best of your ability in the way that we're living our lives right now. Like, why do you want to support animal abuse? It doesn't make sense. Why aren't you more like, oh my God, I don't want to support animal abuse. I'm going to stop demanding animals lose their heads, lose their families, lose their bodies. Why are you for unaliving and abusing animals that want to live? It doesn't make sense. You talk about vibrations, but you don't actually care about their best interests. Like, I just don't understand. What's your moral, what's your
My
like
microphone's off.
justification? Yeah, what's your justification for using animals?
I just said it, but my microphone was off. I said I can only do what is best for myself. Even if I try to
You
be a
can do what's
vegan,
best
it
for
wouldn't
yourself,
change.
but what if every time you went to the store and you pick up milk, some human was the one that was born into existence, forced to be pregnant, had her baby taken from her so we could use her milk? Would you still buy milk off the shelf?
And I'm being ridiculous.
See, you're a
Come on. Can we
coward.
be
You can't answer
fair?
it. You're a
Do,
coward for
do, do
not
you
being
know
able
the
to answer that. A coward.
Yeah. Do you
I'm
know
gonna
what
answer that
analogous means?
question.
I thought we already discussed what analogous means. Exploitation is exploitation. They might not be the same when it's regarding different species, but it's still exploitation. So it's a valid example. The only difference is that argument from speciesism that you have, right? So it's a
Which you
lot
didn't
more
want to
clear.
hear.
it's a lot more cringe when you consider that it might be a human being going into that situation, because you have this speciesist lens on where you prioritize humans over others and believe that that's an excuse to exploit others.
To
See,
answer
we're gonna
your
move on. I'll let
question,
you answer, but
okay.
we're gonna move on after this. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, of course I wouldn't, right? I would not want to drink that milk. I would not want to, of course I wouldn't. So all I'm going to say is it's the argument with everyone is going to keep going on because you're arguing a point that cannot be argued. Morals is a
You
perception.
already answered it, though. Before you go, I just want to say you already answered it. You said you believe it is wrong to unnecessarily exploit others.
In my opinion, that's
all
my
that-
opinion.
Yeah, in your own opinion, just like it is in mine, just like it is with vegan stoner ladies and everybody else on the panel here, right?
I
That
know
is
hunters who
also
don't
our
believe that.
opinion, and that's why we practice veganism, because we try to avoid it as much as possible. But you're justifying it.
In my world, it's wrong. That's my world. In a hunter's world, it's absolutely okay.
So we're talking about you. You need to align your actions with your own principles. Okay? If it's immoral to cause an animal unnecessary harm, then you demanding animal products is demanding animal abuse, because you do not need to consume them. You can eat something else. You can drink something else.
And you're
That
already
simple.
so close too. You're already
Yeah.
so close. You already said you're like primarily on a plant-based diet. Just abstain from the eggs, dairy, and wool, and you'll be right there. And
Maybe
actions will
watch
align with your
Dominion.
values.
Sorry, Ozark. I
Okay,
didn't
I'm
talk
hearing you
over you.
guys. Okay.
Maybe go watch Dominion. It's free on YouTube. If you're going to continue to demand that these animals go through that system, you should know actually what it is you're demanding. They have to just meet a standard, right? Whatever checks the box, that's what they're going to do. But it's bare minimum. So you should see what those labels actually allow, what those boxes are that they're checking to be able to say it's humane raised, it's free range, grass fed, whatever.
Yeah, and that's
this
all
just shows
propaganda.
you standard. Yeah, this just shows you all those standard practices, local small farms, local small slaughterhouses, like all of these. They expect you in the industry to paint this image of animals being so happy and going to sleep when we unalive them. But you should see the truth, because you are demanding it. The animals are only there because you demand they be there. Because you pick up a package. I like this. I like the price. I like how you made it. Make more. And if you shift that demand to something else, they'll make whatever you demand. They care. Many of these industries that have focused only on raising animals have now started to make vegan products because they're losing their customers. And they don't care necessarily about the product. They just want your money.
Okay, right. I'm gonna consider watching the Dominion. I want to say this before I get out of here, right? The world will end before people will accept veganism. That is the truth, because
I don't think that's
life
true.
is
I don't
okay.
think
But
that's
can I
true.
explain why?
It
Can I
also
explain
shouldn't
why?
stop you from making decisions that align with your own ethics. I don't care if every single person on the planet abuses dogs. I would never abuse dogs,
Okay,
or
but can
any
I
other
can I explain
animal.
why?
But that's just
It's a fallacy. It's a fallacy. You're appealing to popularity, and that doesn't make something moral.
Right. Okay. So the reason why that won't happen is because life is not based on good and bad. Cause and effect
Do
is
anything?
what
So we
bases
shouldn't
your
do
life.
anything. Should we never fight for anybody's rights?
You can if you want. I said life is on cause and effect, not good and bad.
That's all irrelevant. You already defined
Yeah.
your own moral code.
Yeah.
I think it's time that you consider aligning your actions with that, because like I said, you already seem like you're pretty close to being there. For you, it's a lot less change than it is for the average person. We understand what you're saying, but a lot of it's largely irrelevant because it doesn't come down to the rest of the world. It comes down to you individually and what you believe, or me individually and what I believe. And do my actions align with my beliefs? I do the best I can every day to make that happen.
Well, if that's true, then you haven't been listening, because I just told you my life specifically is not based on morality, good and bad. It's based on cause and effect.
Mud. If you were the one in the cage, what would you want your oppressor to do? Keep using you or stop?
I would want them to stop, but
Exactly.
I don't get your question.
Mud. You are the oppressor to the animals. They're just vulnerable to you. That's it. They're just vulnerable.
Yeah, you should watch Darius Scary Mud because that's where it all starts. They're both on YouTube and they don't cost anything.
You're gonna drive yourselves crazy because you're basing this off of good and
Okay,
bad.
Mud, you have a good day. Please watch
You
Dominion.
too.
If you watch it, come talk to me afterwards, but go watch that first, okay? You'll understand where we're
Okay, I
coming
got you
from.
guys.
Okay, I appreciate it.
You guys have a good day.
You too. All right, bye. I just think that he needs to go see what it is he's defending. Most people just don't know.
Absolutely, and the younger the better, because like he's still young. I mean, by all intents and purposes, he's still his brain, and anybody's 18-year-old brain hasn't fully developed how to understand ethics.
Yeah, this is a great time for him to go looking into, what has been the norm and, questioning it, because we just do things sometimes, we don't question it, but when we realize that those norms are harming someone and it's not necessary, it's okay to change. It's okay to look into it and figure out if you can avoid it. Anyway, I hope that he at least does that. Go watch Dominion, please. That's at minimum. It's not even, that's below the minimum, it's like just something you should do. Everybody should be aware. Anyway.
You ready for me to bring somebody else up, Anna?
Please, yes.
For you?
Yeah. Even if I'm ranting, go ahead and throw them at me because I can go on.
Okay, let's try Charles. Hopefully he'll be okay. Hey Charles, what's your age for TikTok?
My age is 38.
Okay.
So, how do you morally justify not being vegan?
I really can't justify morally being vegan.
Not being vegan.
I was arguing with someone the other day on another post on TikTok. How can vegans be really vegan? How can vegans be sure that they're actually vegan when given that they use blood meal, bone meal to produce food? It's like, have you ever put a
That's
white
only with
flour?
Charles, that's only with specific organic brands.
But
the majority of the crops that are grown are
blood meal and bone meal is considered organic. If you put
I'm not disagreeing with you, right? I just want to explain really quick that the majority of the food that's consumed is grown with synthetic fertilizers. Not all vegans eat organic, and it's not required, but that blood and bone meal and manure that is used, that doesn't drive the industry. What drives the industry is animal consumption. If we stopped consuming animals, we wouldn't rely on those products. We would rely on other methods such as like green manure crops and nutrient mining crops and other like ethical methods.
Yes, I understand. Big supermarkets don't use like Walmart. Most of the produce from Walmart is not going to be used blood meal and bone meal. But smaller supermarkets, like smaller towns, if you go to a farmer's market, they possibly might use blood meal and bone meal. So,
do you understand what veganism actually is, though?
Yes, it's consuming a part of an animal. If you put a white flour in a vase,
hold on. Charles, 1 second. I just want to explain it really quick so that way we're on the same page. Because it's not a diet. It's a philosophy that aims to exclude the unnecessary exploitation of others, right? So in some circumstances, it might be impossible to be completely exploitation free, but don't you believe that in those circumstances, somebody should try their best to do that?
But don't us humans are mammals, and mammals are animals. Don't other animals eat other animals?
I'll answer that if you answer my question first. Do you think that just because it might be impossible to completely avoid exploitation, that people should do their best to avoid it as much as they can?
Not really understanding the question.
Okay,
Exploiting
so
animals
so do
how?
you, okay, well, exploitation is the using somebody else unfairly to benefit yourself. So there's many forms of exploitation that can be practiced. Anything from like horseback riding to animal consumption to slavery to like they're not the same, but they're all analogous because they're all exploitation. And they all exist today, but do you think that people, because they exist, should just not be concerned about it, or do you think that people should do their best to avoid it where they can?
No, because since the beginning of time, animals have been put on this earth for humans to use. God
That's
didn't
that's
just
that's an
create
assumption.
animals.
That's an assumption that humans
God
made.
just didn't create vegetables for us humans to eat vegetables. He created animals for us to eat as well.
So I'm assuming that you are a Christian then.
Um, no, particularly not. I left the church after I found out.
Then where are you deriving that God put animals on the earth for humans to consume?
Well,
Where are you
according to
getting that from?
huh? Well, God didn't put animals wasn't put here for us not to consume.
Well, no, I'm asking where you got that, like where you're basing your claim off of, like where was it revealed to you that God put animals on the earth for us to consume? Where did you learn that?
From the Bible.
Okay, so if you're practicing your morals from the Bible, you're a Christian, right? Even if you
No,
left the
not,
church, if you're practicing that scripture, then you're a Christian, right? Or at least like a part of the Abrahamic religions, right?
no, I don't believe in religion at all. I was just making a
So that
statement.
so then if you don't believe in religion, then it's illogical to say that God put animals on the earth for us to consume without
Well,
any valid
it's
source of that.
illogical to say that there's animals on this earth and we're not allowed to consume them.
Oh, so humans are animals, like you had mentioned earlier. Do you think it's okay since God put animals on earth to exploit other humans?
Take God out of the equation. We as
You
us,
mentioned it, not me, buddy.
okay. Well, let's take God out of the equation. Us as humans are mammals, and mammals are animals, and animals eat other animals. So,
Do you think that stuff like sexual assault or like cannibalism or like infanticide are okay practices for humans to do?
um,
Those are all common traits in the animal kingdom, especially amongst mammals.
we us as humans do sexual assault,
Well, I'm
and
saying, do you think that is okay for humans to do that to each other because other animals in nature do that to each other?
I don't necessarily think animals sexually assault each other
They do.
because if an animal didn't like it, they would fight.
It definitely happens.
They would
It
fight
is, it
and
has,
kill each
it
other.
is, it is well documented scientifically in many biology publications that does happen. It's just probably different because they're not as aware of it, but just like they eat animals because they're doing it according to survival and they're not as aware of morals and ethics as we are, but it's still practiced in the animal kingdom. And when you make an appeal to nature, well, other animals do this, well, then that implies that other stuff that animals do should be okay as well, right? Got him. Uh, oh man. Okay. I can't. Yikes. That was kind of a pain. I can't hear you.
Sorry, yes. I was trying to mute myself because I sometimes will comment and not think that I just don't think about it. I'm like, yes, and I don't want to interrupt. But yeah, that whole beginning part though, oh my God. Like, God said so, but I'm not religious. I don't know. That one got me.
Remove God from the equation. What about what the other animals do in nature? We can't remove that from the equation, can we?
No, exactly. And just because someone else is doing something immoral, that doesn't give you the moral justification to do something immoral as well to somebody else too.
Ben, by all means, please interject over me, if you have stuff to say.
Oh, I mean, you were fine. If I do feel like you're missing something, I'll jump in. I think you were fine though.
Well, I was telling Ben too, because he was up here for a while last time and didn't
Oh
really
yeah,
talk.
exactly. Yeah, Ben, please, you can definitely speak up if you want to add something because you've been quiet for a while. So.
Oh, good. I'm just worried I was breaking your panel here because it's still all messed up on my side.
I know. I was looking at that. I was like, yeah, you're up here. It just doesn't have your picture for some reason. But if I hover, it says your name. So I don't know, and I can hear you. Everyone should by the way, we have great vegans up here on the panel. Okay, I'm gonna say you can kind of see it's like cut off there. Ben the vegan farmer. Okay, go follow him. There's also Ozark down here. He's also a veganic farmer. Ozark Limbs. And then there's Lori Licht. She's an awesome animal rights activist, and she has just a very interesting background. All these vegans do, in fact. So definitely follow them.
Do you want me to bring up a guest?
Yeah, sure. If you want, or if Lori's, I think Lori was doing it, but I don't know if she's here. She might be taking a break.
There were
back, I'm
6 in the
sorry.
queue. So.
I just came back. I'm sorry. I checked out the guests, so I think I know who needs to come up.
Okay, I'll just let Lori do it for now. But if she steps
Okay.
away, I don't mind if somebody else takes over. So
Yeah, the only reason I asked is because she didn't ask, and I noticed there were people in the queue.
Yeah. 9 Hill. How old are you for TikTok purposes?
Okay, 41, 1984.
okay. So how do you morally justify not being vegan?
Well, I mean, how I justify not being vegan is my quote-unquote philosophy is whatever I'm doing should not affect other people to the point where they have to share their opinion on what my life should be conducted as.
So what about someone who thinks cannibalizing is okay? Should we? They think it's okay
to a cannibalistic idea.
Mhm.
If it comes down to survival, yeah, I think
Okay. This
cannibalism
person isn't in
is-
survival. They just like the taste.
Well, I mean, if you like the taste, you like the taste. That's all on you.
So you think that it's morally acceptable, and we shouldn't talk this person out of doing this, unaliving humans for taste pleasure.
I mean, you don't have to unalive a human in order to cannibalize them.
Do you think that people should openly be allowed to display racism and oppress others based on that?
How is that correlated?
Because we're talking about the exploitation of others, and you said that you believe that what individuals do shouldn't be criticized by others, essentially.
Well, no. See, you're twisting it, and you've been twisting it since I've been in this live.
Please
So
elaborate.
what I am saying is what I do with my life has no effect on your life. So if I want to be a carnist and just eat meat all day long, I'll eat meat all day long.
So
and
that
your opinions on life don't matter.
So
I
my
used to work
question
in a
is,
meat factory.
if I
used to
wanted
work in a meat plant.
If I wanted to be a
Yeah, you
racist
look
and
like it.
practice that amongst others, there wouldn't be an issue with that. That's what you're implying.
Yeah, and if you are unaliving animals, you are hurting everybody. It's not just vegans that, no, you're hurting everybody by your choices.
Nels, are you there?
I'm quiet, Ozark. He said somebody muted him. I didn't mute him.
Oh, it says that
Maybe
he's not
you muted
muted.
Not muted.
Oh, maybe there's a glitch.
He might have muted himself.
It says every time I click it, it says that I'm turning it off.
Yeah, so it's on. It's on because it's not up there.
You might have to, well, there might be a glitch. You might have to drop down and come back up.
Yeah, I don't even see your profile picture, so there might just be an error with the live or your connection with the live.
Drop down and I'll bring you back up.
Darn. Yeah, try to come back up. 9 hells.
The suspense was killing me. I was really wondering how I was twisting it.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
like they had only been up here for like a minute and a half.
No, you weren't.
Full
You're,
lag.
okay, he's back. He's back.
Okay. All right. Are you able to unmute yourself?
Nine Hells.
I'm here. I don't
Okay.
think
Okay.
I'm unmuted.
We can
Yeah,
hear you
we
now.
can hear you now. There must have been some error because I couldn't even send you an invite to unmute. Like it wouldn't even let me do it.
So can you
Okay.
explain what was twisted, just so we kind of understand where the
Well, I
breakdown
was
of
in the middle
communication
of
is?
explaining what was twisted before I got muted. But anyway, let's take your concept and use it in another way, okay? Since you like to use your concepts like the moral word, you want to go to the morally, all that stuff. If in a world there was no
Because I'm
morals,
sentient, they're sentient. I want to be respected. They deserve the same respect. That's why I'm here.
okay. So if there was no morals in the world, do you think your opinion about the animal
My
would really
opinion.
matter?
It's not about me. It's about what they want. They're sentient beings. All sentient beings share these qualities that they want to keep living. They avoid harm. They care what happens to them. Go ahead.
And when you continue to use the term opinion, you're only reinforcing my point. That
No one is reinforcing your point
You're making
with the word opinion, because veganism is an opinion. It is not a philosophy. It may be your way of life, and you may use it as a philosophy.
Veganism
But
is
it
a
is not
philosophy. It's a
anything but an
legitimate
opinion about what people should do with animals.
Being an
So you-
abolitionist against human slavery, I guess, was also just an opinion.
See, there you go, guys. Go bringing in human aspect whenever we're talking about
Do you
the animal
understand what the
aspect of
term
things.
analogous means?
You're just trying to cultivate some sort of
Do
You're a
emotion.
coward. You're a
Do you
coward.
understand what the term analogous means?
Yes, analogous means it's an analogy, which the analogy that you are
Do you
using
know what
as
exploitation
humans
means?
is you're like, oh, let's
Do you
point
know?
out this bad thing,
Do you know what
even though it doesn't
exploitation
even
means?
affect animals.
Do you know what
Like, we cannot be
exploitation
racist
means?
against animals.
Are you
Do you
here
know what
to? Are
exploitation
you going to listen? Are you actually going to continue having a conversation, or you just want to spout off and leave?
Yeah, you need to let him speak. Okay, one speaks, then the other one speaks.
Yeah, because I want to make sure we're on the same page. Do you understand what
Well,
exploitation?
we're definitely not on the same page.
Well, that's why I'm trying to get us there. Do you understand what exploitation means?
Oh, good God. Are you real?
Okay, so
Like,
so
do you
so
know?
you don't want to
You're throwing out
engage
big
in the
words:
discussion?
exploitation,
It's okay if you don't know.
analogous.
It's okay
And
if you
you're
don't
like,
know. I
exploitation
had
is
to look
using
it up
something
too. We're not trying
for
to
your own
be
positive
offensive.
use.
We're genuinely asking you if you know what these words are that we're using, because we're using them for a specific reason. Sorry, Ozark.
Yes,
No, it's okay.
because
This is
the
live,
words
but
that you are using for specific
Nine
reasons
Hells,
is to
you came
cultivate
up.
a negative aspect
No,
of
you
what
came
another
up.
person is saying.
You came up to have a discussion with us. I'm trying to describe exactly what we are discussing here. And if you're not here to engage with what we're actually discussing, then there's no
Oh, I'm
point in you being
engaging.
here.
You're just
So
it's
I'm
falling on deaf
asking.
ears.
No, I'm asking you. Do you know what exploitation means?
I just gave you the explanation or the definition of exploitation. You just didn't fucking listen.
Okay, so I'll say it since I didn't hear you because you were trying to talk over others when we were talking. Exploitation is using somebody else unfairly to benefit yourself, right? So when I asked you if you knew what analogous meant and you said yes, sure. Nobody's saying that things like slavery or animal consumption or horseback riding or SA are all the same. When I said analogous, they are the same as they are all forms of exploitation. So they are relevant terms being used or relevant comparisons. It's not an outrageous or illogical comparison because we're discussing different forms of unnecessary exploitation. And if you're implying that based off of your opinion, you shouldn't be criticized for unnecessarily exploiting others, then you need to be willing to acknowledge that it is okay for others to act on that when it comes to different forms of
You do
exploitation.
realize we are talking about animals and food and not humans, right?
No, we're talking about exploitation, and humans are animals, are they not?
I mean, they're mammals, but
Are mammals animals?
yes. But
Okay.
now you all are gonna little giggle and all that bullshit because of that comment. But anyway, so
Why are you
you're
being so
using
aggressive? Like we're trying to.
exploitation as a way to correlate food being a
Saying
negative
that you're
aspect.
coping right now. You're coping.
Coping.
Yeah. You have to call these animals food. Do you call a dog food?
I mean, if it came down to it, a dog would be food.
Yeah, but why not just casually?
What do you mean? Why not just casually
Dogs are
call a
just
dog
food.
food?
They're just classified
I mean,
as
I would
food,
name
right?
my
No, they're
dog
not.
food.
You know why most people don't consume dogs? Because they recognize that there's a being in there having their own experience. They start to relate with that being. They see that that being has preferences, has subjective feelings like joy, can suffer. So they don't want to take that individual's life because they can relate with them. If they were in that body, they would also want to be respected. But we don't spend as much time around the farm animals, so we can't really empathize with them. You don't see their behaviors, but we have studies that have done so. All these animals are sentient. They all want to avoid harm. They all care about what happens to them just like we do. Knowing that, it is immoral to continue using them when we have all these other things that we can use instead. That's the whole point. And you agree. Because I'm sure you would think it's wrong to put a dog in a car that's hot or to breed dogs for dog fighting to make money. Right?
See,
It's
the
unnecessary harm to those
correlations
animals.
and the analogies that you throw out, you guys are,
Okay,
like
well,
I
we're
said,
gonna move on if you can't
you're
understand what we're talking
cultivating
about.
a negative aspect on what somebody else is saying. That
What
way
about
that you
the
can
animals?
claim that you
What
are
do the
proper
animals want?
in your
What do the
decision.
animals want? Do you care what the animals want?
I think I'll
Do
start off
you
with my
care
first
what
point.
the animals want?
It depends on the animal.
A cow, a pig, a chicken. Do you care
All
what they
three are
want?
food.
So
See
you're
what
you're a speciesist.
Yeah, you're not considering that they have the equal ability to suffer as dogs. We're gonna move on. He's purposely not trying to understand. Like, I feel like you made such clear points and then he would just pivot really hard and not like he didn't even hear what you said. It's very frustrating.
It's all good. It's more than typical, I think.
I just, it's so clear the way you laid it out. I was like, how are you still missing this? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm always blown away when people, their cognitive dissonance is really that strong. You know, they just will not accept reality that hard because they're that scared of change. They're that scared of dealing with the idea that they may be causing way too much harm and that they can stop, you know. They're just too scared. And it's really upsetting to deal with people that are letting fear drive their life. It's a human thing though, but still, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know, Lori, do you want to throw one at me or? I don't know if she's there. Ozark, you're welcome to throw someone up if you want, if there's someone you've been.
We had to move again. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry,
you're
sorry.
fine. Oh, don't be sorry. Please don't be
There
sorry.
was
Sorry. Our potato. I think he's old enough.
Okay. Perfect.
I have a profile, so I'm not gonna let if he has.
Looks like he did not want to come up.
Live.
Oh no, there he is.
Or
I see him now.
Slifey.
Okay.
Yeah, Slifey. He doesn't have a profile.
Sly.
How's it going?
Hi. Is it Sly
It's
Fluffy?
it's Life Life.
Sly Flife. Okay.
Life Life.
Sly's Flife.
Get it.
Okay.
I'm 40 years old, correct? Yeah, I am old enough to contribute to this conversation, and
Your microphone is a
I'm
little
happy
bit
that
weird
you
though.
picked me for you.
There's something wrong with your microphone.
I apologize. Let me see if does this work a little bit better. Can you hear me a little bit better?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay.
So how do you
It
morally
seems as
justify not
though
being
you guys
vegan?
have been the way that I justify it is because, and if you'll give me a chance to explain my points before I'm interrupted, I'd appreciate it. Human beings would not have evolved to the point that we are at the top of the food chain had it not been for our ability to eat both meat and plants. We're omnivores. Now, throughout history, there has been numerous instances where human beings at our various stages in evolution have developed a necessity to gain.
Cut out. I don't know where you went. Am I the
I
only one
went.
that?
It's
Okay.
crazy. It's crazy that whenever somebody starts to actually express a valid opinion, that you have no argument towards, their microphone somehow gets muted.
I caught the gist of most of what you said, and I could definitely
I didn't
follow up
mute
with
him.
that. No, you did. You
Somehow.
definitely cut
Okay.
out, but I
Okay.
caught the
Oh,
gist of what you
so
were
you can
saying.
hear me again. So you can hear me again.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not finished. I'm not finished. And then you guys. So in addition to what I've explained, and I'm sure you guys would potentially understand this with a basics anatomy education, that vegans, vegetarians, such as cows, have what is known as they have four stomachs. They have a completely different digestive tract than an omnivore or a carnivore does. We do not share that same developmental digestive tract as vegetarians do. We were not made to consume only plants. Another additional, more
Okay,
additional
stop for a
evidence to
second.
that notion
Yeah.
is our
Slice,
teeth.
life.
Not teeth,
Life. I'm not
and we
trying to
also
be
have
rude.
molars as well. For
Life. I'm
I'm
not
sorry.
trying
I'm
to
sorry.
be.
I'm not finished. I'm not. No
Well,
problem.
I'm not.
I'm not trying to be rude either. I'm
No. You can go on with your points. It's just we want to be able to address all of them. But if you gish gallop from point to point without giving us a chance to follow up, we're going to lose track of what you're saying. So let's address one point at a time. Is that okay? I did mute you. You have to unmute. I wasn't trying to be rude. I want to be able to thoroughly address all of your points. But when you do too many at once, it just gets overwhelming and we can't have a conversation.
Would you like a moment to respond to what I've already said?
Pick one of those and then we'll respond and we'll go through them
Pick
systematically
one of
because we
those.
want.
I've just stated five things. Are
We'll go through
That's
them.
fine.
We'll go
are you
through them.
capable of
We're just
remembering
going to do one at
what
a
I
time.
stated?
We're going to do
That,
one
yeah,
at a
that's
time. Go ahead.
yeah. So which
Okay.
one would you like to focus on?
Things.
Life, stop talking.
4 or 5.
That's what I was trying to say. Like when you say too many things at once, it's impossible to logically follow up with all of them with one response. So that's why I want to address all of them. Just pick the most important one to you right now, and then we'll move on to the next one you have, and then to the next one you have when we follow up with them, if that's okay.
Your microphone's cutting out hard again.
Of course it is. Of course it is, because you guys are losing a debate. You guys are losing a debate to the point where you guys
do
actually
that
have
to
your
your
moderators
microphone.
in the comments insulting
Skylight.
people.
It's showing
You actually
that
are
you were
insulting
having.
people.
No, it was showing that you had a bad service connection on your thing. I am respectfully giving you.
Ironically enough, when
Life, are you here to have a
with a
discussion, or are you
single,
just here
actually,
to moan?
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, he
You
definitely
can
is here
always
just
leave,
to moan.
Sky, like you just did. Big moan.
I know I dropped him because first off,
Yeah,
his mic is
big
terrible, and that's going to be a continuing issue.
Oh,
and
you
if he's
dropped
going to
him?
if he's going to keep blaming us for that, that's just going to make the conversation get derailed too often. Not worth it to me. He's clearly
I
just
don't know
going
how
to cry.
much more respectful I could have been with that either. Like,
Yeah.
I was being extremely respectful and trying to address his points individually, but he wasn't interested.
I was ready. I had a pen. I was like, let's write them down. We can go through them. I didn't expect him to go through so many, so I already had forgotten what his first one was, and I was like, yeah, just pick one, and then we'll go down the list. Just he wasn't getting it for some reason. He thought we were saying we're only going to answer one.
Okay. Yeah, no, I wanted to address
Joe.
every single one of them, but
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, our potato.
Turn your volume down.
I'm 19.
Okay.
Okay, so
How do you morally justify not being vegan?
the burden of proof falls on you, but I will give you the argument
Oh, no,
of
no,
why
no,
I
no.
don't.
How do you morally justify not being vegan? Because you're actively picking up things and demanding that those animals be there. So if you're going to demand that someone be oppressed, you better have a good reason.
All right, I will. So what you're doing is you're describing things. You're giving descriptions, right? You said animals have feelings, right? You said animals
they can
have.
experience subjective feelings like pain and joy.
Right, thank you. So my point is that you're simply describing things and then
Yes.
prescribing a morally normative ought from that.
No,
You
I'm
can't
not.
justify
No.
where that
hey,
ought comes from.
Hush. I know you're a debate bro. Look, the point is, if you want your anatomy, if you want your capacity to suffer to be respected, you have an obligation to reflect that to other beings, right? Other humans. If you go around mistreating humans in a way that you wouldn't tolerate, that's not moral. That's hypocritical.
How do you logically justify that?
How do I logically justify what?
That you ought do this based
If
off of people's
I were
feelings.
in their position, I would want my oppressor to stop using me. So I'm acting in accordance of how I would want my oppressor to act if I was the one being oppressed.
So what if I want people to hurt me? Then
Well, that
should
doesn't
I
give
hurt other
you.
people?
That still doesn't give you the right, because
Wait,
sentient
so-
beings. Hush. If you want me to answer, sentient beings all share the want to avoid harm. We all share that. It's safe to assume everybody wants to avoid harm. If you enjoy harm, I'm going to have to figure that out by communicating with you first. I need your consent. I can't just assume that you like to feel suffering and do it to you.
So if your normative justification is based off of subjective feelings, then somebody's subjective anger can then justify them hurting animals then. Because
No.
they feel angry and therefore they should do it.
No. The point is, if you're a sentient being, you want to avoid harm. If you, for some reason, enjoy harm, you're going to have to communicate that you enjoy that. That's giving consent. That's what's important. Animals cannot reliably consent. So we're using someone's body who cannot consent for our pleasure.
I mean,
just
I'm
interject
doing what's
really
called a
quick?
meta-level argument.
Yeah, so you're trying to use meta ethics for an informal debate, right? We're talking. Do you know what veganism is? Let's start there. Do you understand?
Yeah, I know what veganism is.
Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, it's the belief that you shouldn't eat animals.
No, that's not what veganism
Or-
is. So you came to debate a topic that you really don't understand what you're.
Oh, I
actually
don't
here to
understand
discuss.
it.
So veganism is a philosophy that aims to exclude unnecessary exploitation of other sentient beings. Do you understand that?
I mean, that's called utilitarianism, not veganism.
No, that's called veganism. Utilitarianism is harm reduction and suffering reduction. There's a difference. We're talking about the unnecessary exploitation of others. Do you understand the difference between suffering and exploitation?
Suffering obviously.
Exists without exploitation, right? But when we exploit others, we create additional suffering. So there's a big difference between utilitarianism and veganism, even though they might intersect in certain instances. So now when we're applying meta ethics to this, all this does is deflect away from like addressing your individual principles by putting the focus on ethics in general. And that's just illogical for this discussion.
Yeah, well, the whole point of meta ethics is to examine the underlying logic behind a position.
Yeah,
You
but
clearly
we're-
don't have underlying logic behind this
Okay,
position.
so let me ask
It's just
you
all
this.
emotionally
Let me
charged.
ask you this. I'm just gonna use a random form of exploitation. You might or might not like it, but it's analogous to discussion. Do you think that essaying people, personally, your own ethics, do you believe it's okay to essay people?
Well, obviously, I mean, no, I don't agree that it's okay to
Okay,
essay
so
people.
so you made an individual subjective determination right there.
No,
that
but
is-
that I don't think
no,
that's
no, 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 no.
subjective. My position is that I believe in moral realism, and I could justify that logically.
Okay, so do you or do you not believe it's okay to essay somebody?
I just said I don't. But what does that have anything to do with
Okay, so
your
that,
belief?
I'm not finished yet. We're bringing the focus back to there because this is what I'm trying to describe why meta ethics has no place in this discussion. Because we're discussing your individual ethical system and the consistency in which you apply it amongst your daily actions. So you think that one form of exploitation is not ethical in your own framework? Do you think something like slavery would be an ethically justified practice if it's unnecessary?
No.
Okay, so you don't believe that. Do you think that breeding somebody into existence for the sole purpose of using them is ethically justifiable?
Well, I mean, is it an animal or a human?
Are humans not animals?
Humans have the rational capacity to self-reflect.
Okay,
Animals
what about
don't.
the humans that don't? What about like babies or toddlers or severely mentally disabled individuals who can't rationalize like you and I can? Do you think it's okay to exploit them?
Well, whether I think it is
It's a
okay or
yes or no
not doesn't
question.
justify your position
No,
logically.
you
In fact,
were
that would be
able.
an
No, stop.
inconsistency if I
You were
said no.
No, you were exactly. You were able to answer the other ones, but now when it comes down to this question, you're apprehensive to answer it because you know it puts you in a position to where it demonstrates your logical inconsistency.
Well, no.
Right?
Here's what I'd ask you. When we put mentally challenged people to just work like in schools when you have them work
It doesn't matter what kind of exploitation it is.
It is
Do
exploitation.
you know what exploitation means?
So is it exploitation to have mentally challenged people work like without pay, which they do
Oh
like
yeah,
in schools?
I'm absolutely against that. Yes, but are
So
you
I'm
against
not.
it or are you
I'm
not
not.
against? You're not against it.
I'm not against
So
it.
are you against like consuming toddlers,
Yeah.
or exploiting toddlers in any manner?
Yeah, I'd be against that.
So you're okay with some form, or you're okay with unnecessary exploitation, but you're also not okay with unnecessary exploitation. Do
So
you mind
wait.
addressing
How
that
do you
logical
bridge
inconsistency
that
right
gap
there?
between unnecessary and necessary?
Do you need to do it to survive?
So wait.
Like,
Why is that the
it-
normative? Why is that the why
it
is
within the practical
why is
means?
survival as opposed to pleasure the normative thing?
Because that's what the conversation that we're discussing
No,
is.
see, you didn't
right?
justify your normative. You didn't justify your normative prescription. You
I
said,
don't
oh,
have
we
to.
just
Just
ought we
just
ought
like
do
just
things
like
in the
you
capacity
didn't
to
just
survive,
like you
but you didn't
didn't
justify that.
just like you didn't justify your logical inconsistency. So I don't see what your point is here.
What do you mean? What do you mean I didn't justify? What was logically inconsistent?
You said it is both okay to unnecessarily exploit some, but it is also not okay to unnecessarily exploit somebody. That is a logical contradiction. Do you mind addressing that?
When did I say it was okay to
You said it was okay.
unnecessarily?
You said it was okay to exploit mentally disabled people.
No, so here's the issue with what you're doing. That wasn't an unnecessary
No, it's
exploitation.
a very
So
logical question, and I would like for you to
no,
answer.
it's not. First off, it's not exploitation.
Do you know
What
what
we have people
exploitation
do,
means? I thought we already addressed
we
this.
have people see. And do you notice that you won't let me talk? All right, listen.
That's because you keep deflecting from what I'm actually asking.
What I was going to explain to you is why having mentally challenged people work isn't unnecessary exploitation. Is because just having them lay around and then have people take care of them would be.
I can't hear you, Anna. I can't hear you.
It's all good. I was wrecking that dude anyway.
Sorry, I was hitting the wrong button. No, I can't handle the ableism. That's just that's too much. Saying that we can't have people that are just living their life. We have to exploit them. We have to make them work as slaves. No.
That was the logical inconsistency, though. He's
I
saying
know.
it's okay.
I know. I was letting you call him out on that, but then he was saying that it's better than to just let them lie around. I'm like, I can't handle that ableism. Like, that's so disgusting. They're people.
I'll bring up,
They
I'll
don't
bring up the
need to
next
work.
one. You're ready.
Yeah, go
Are you
ahead.
ready?
Yeah, it's
I don't
fine.
know
Yeah.
if he's a kid or not, but I'll keep my finger on that button. His name's Dominic.
Okay.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
Hey, Dominic, are you over 18?
Hello. Yes, I'm 23 years of age.
Okay, so how do you morally justify not being vegan?
Well, see, I'm a Native American. I come from Nia Bay, Washington, part of the Macaw tribe, and we live in a very mountainous region. We live on an ocean front and a mountainous region. We, a small box of grapes that you might get at a local Walmart would be about $5, $7, $8. On the reservation, it's like 27.
Okay.
So getting food shipped from out of our reservation is extremely hard. Only way we can really feed ourselves is through self-sustentation. And we do farm. We have almost every house here has a small garden that we use, but that's just not enough. We've got very harsh winters. We're extremely northern tribe, and food only grows here about 4 or 5 months out of the year. And like I said, we can't ship food in. So we're an oceanfront tribe. We survive off of hunting and fishing, and we respect the animals. We use every bit of it. We do not let anything go to waste. And we try as best as we can. When we find a whale washed up dead, we do not let it rot and decompose. We use it. We pray for it and we honor it.
Do you mind if I ask you a question, Dominic?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Like, because I'm very empathetic to your described situation. We're not here to discuss anybody that might be living in a specific situation where it's necessary to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's why veganism is against the unnecessary exploitation of others. Now, I'm not trying to be rude in when I say this, so I'm going to take you at face value and believe what you're saying, that you don't have a whole lot of options, because I don't know you, but I'll believe you in this conversation. Do you think that even though you don't have a whole lot of other options, do you think that it would be, do you think that people should, in that situation, try to abstain from the unnecessary exploitation that they can?
Yes, and we as Native Americans, we try to use nature in the most sustainable way possible. So we as a local community will extremely form prejudice and even charge people criminally with poaching. Anytime you kill an animal without necessity, I agree with you guys. And if you guys are up here on the point of like large corporation farming and how they handle animal and cattle, yes, fuck them. Sorry my language, excuse me. But screw them. It's very, very horrible what I've seen, how animals get treated, but I've also seen animals who live perfectly happy lives and are euthanized extremely quickly and humanely. And that is sometimes necessary. That meat has kept my family alive through winters. And that
Sure, but
might be the situation for other people too.
Did you hear what I was saying specifically, though? Right? I said that we're not trying to debate people that have to do something out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about strictly exploiting others unnecessarily. And that does include farmers that treat their animals extremely well. I don't think welfarism ever erases the act of exploitation. So, and I think you did answer it. You said that you do believe that even in a circumstance where more exploitation is necessary, that individuals should abstain from the unnecessary exploitation of others, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So then you understand what veganism is if you believe that. We're not trying to debate people that are in survival situations. We're trying to talk to people that have options and choose to unnecessarily exploit others when they don't have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I live off of reservation too. And I've seen, you guys are vegan farmers, correct?
Yes.
And so do you guys use lots of pesticides and
No, I
genetically modified organisms within your crops?
No, I don't use any pesticides or herbicides. We built biodiversity and use nature. Or we don't use nature. We work with nature as it's our companion instead of looking at nature as something to exploit. And by building biodiversity using like green manure crops or nutrient mining crops as cover crops when alternating crops, that manages the soil fertility and also the insect control. We don't have we put up like nets and stuff to protect against deer and rodents. We don't have any issues with wildlife unless we have an area that's unprotected. But no, we don't use chemicals or pesticides.
Yeah, dude, massive respect to you for doing that. That's awesome. We need more things like that. But I must ask, that's quite expensive, isn't it?
No, it's really not. I mean, you just like buying grains and legumes to plant and planting seeds from tomatoes or peppers or other stuff, and after a while, like we have a mature orchard, a mature fruit and nut orchard. There's the only expensive thing is the time that we might put into it, but that's going to be with any operation, right? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
so I mean, it's really not terribly expensive. It would be a lot more expensive if I did include animals here, because I would have to rely on feeding them, taking care of them, giving them like vet bills and all that stuff. And plus, I don't agree with the unnecessary exploitation. I will use significantly less land to feed myself off of growing crops than I would if I was consuming animals as well.
Okay, that's dude. Yeah, all props to that. Massive respect. How much might I ask? And this you can pass this question up because it might be personal. I'm not sure. But how much people could you say you could feed yearly off of your crops? Would it just be your family, or could you possibly
Well,
also?
we grow for sustainment for my wife and I, and then our three dogs also eat a lot of the stuff we grow. We obviously supplement them with other nutrients from like veganic dog kibble and stuff like that. But it takes about like a third of an acre at the minimum to feed one adult human being. So a couple acres is more than enough to feed a full family. And like if I were to like use about the like 12 usable acres that we have to farm, we'd be able to feed our community because we have a relatively small community. There are plenty of farmers in the area. Most of them are produce farmers as well and supply to the community. But they have different practices than we do. As far as I know, we're the only veganic farmers in the community.
Yeah. Well, good. Stay strong then. Stay strong then, man. Well, that's
So
great. But
the question then
oh,
comes to, if you're not in your situation, do you believe that everyone else should have the moral obligation to live vegan as they have the options?
man, I think that yeah, if you have that option, to take that for sure. But I don't. I just want to clarify. I've lived on reservation the majority of my life, but I've moved off reservation at 18 years old to kind of expand, go to school, and all that kind of stuff, which you can't do on reservation. So I've also lived off reservation. I know what life is like as a non-necessity, where I don't need to hunt. I could go to the store and get food. But I also know how
Well, that's all we're
expensive it is.
talking about. Well,
It's
actually, a vegan
well,
diet is actually cheaper. It's if you eat a whole food plant-based diet, it can be up to 30% cheaper.
I see. I've tried, and
I was going to say, yeah, legumes and grains and like potatoes,
Yep.
like those are some really high density caloric crops. And then especially in the case of like legumes and grain, like they have a high protein content. And when combined, like throughout the day, you get your full protein profile that you need. And it's a lot less expensive to produce those than it is to
Way
produce
cheaper.
livestock and animal products.
well, no, I get what you're saying, but like for people who don't have accessibility themselves to farm, and then you say it's cheaper, but the only vegetation or any veggies, fruits in the stores around me, personally, that are cheaper than buying a meat protein diet, the only ones that are healthier are going to be like what you can find at like local farm markets, because everything in my store is genetically modified, sprayed out the buns with pesticides.
There's
And by the
studies
time
on this that actually even conventional fruits and vegetables are still, like if you eat a plant-based diet and you're eating conventional and not organic, you're still going to be much healthier than consuming animal products, if that's your concern. Because these issues that you're worried about, these pesticides or whatever that are sprayed on plants, are also sprayed on the plants that the animals consume, and it collects in their body, so it's compounding. You're getting more of those pesticides and stuff in your animal flesh, or in the animal flesh. It's not yours.
Yeah, I did want to mention really quick the difference between feed grade food and food grade food is the amount of chemicals you're allowed to spray on them.
So feed grade is like allowed to have more chemical sprayed than food grade? Yeah.
Feed grade's allowed to have a lot more chemicals sprayed
Okay.
on it than food grade.
That makes
The
sense.
majority of animal products that you would buy at the grocery store are fed those products. So you're indirectly consuming them regardless, if that's a concern.
And it is kind of a concern, yeah, but that's good. I did not know that, and I'll take that into consideration.
This
There was
website.
also,
Oh, go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead,
No,
Leah.
please, Ben, please.
No, I was just going to say too, there was a recent study about microplastics too. And in the flesh of animals is actually higher concentration of microplastics than any other food item in the store. So if you do care about contamination, you should definitely, look into a plant-based diet to reduce your, contaminants that you get.
Okay, and then I have another question, and this is just I'm not trying to attack nobody, just questions. For like health issues, I have a problem. My body, I don't really want to get too into my health issue because, sorry, it's a little awkward in some stages. But basically, my body has a problem breaking down fibrous plants, lettuce, potato, or not potatoes, but like lettuce, celery, spinach, you name it, anything that's high fibrous content. My body almost can't break down. And it causes me to, most of it comes up and I can't keep it down. And
Do you
I'm
have
even,
Crohn's? Do you have Crohn's or IBF?
no, it's not Crohn's, it's not IBF. It's a much rarer thing. I'm a case of one, and I think it's like 1 in 45,000 or something. So it's not super duper rare, but no, it's not Crohn's. It's not any of those.
It doesn't really matter what it is. The question would be, if you didn't have it, would you find it a moral obligation to live vegan?
Yeah, I mean, I think I will agree with you guys. If you have every availability to do it, I
Right.
think you should. But
Okay.
I just
So
think
that means in your situation, when you have a unique situation, you have to look at your own choices, right? What other choices in your life do you have the power to change? Where can you go without, right? I understand there might be some necessity, but that doesn't mean you have to just do all exploitation everywhere, right? Like, do you buy shampoo and conditioner? Or do you make sure that they're not tested on animals? Do you go to the circus or the zoo? Do you think it's okay to take the skin off of animals and wear it, or their fur?
yeah.
Do you think that that's all moral?
The part about fur, I mean, again, as a Native American, yeah, I do.
When you
8
don't
feet of
have to?
snow. When you don't have to, you still can. Cultural purposes.
That's
I mean,
all I'm ever talking about. Most people have access to grocery stores and they have access to alternative materials. We don't need, especially leather and fur. They're, first of all, very toxic to the planet, but they're just not necessary. We have all the alternatives that we could need. So for the most part, people that aren't in survival mode, they have choices. They can wear cotton. They can wear something else that doesn't require someone being born into existence. And if you understand that, then even in your situation, you would still try to avoid demanding someone's oppression as much as possible. And in fact, probably even feel conflicted that you have to cross a principle to survive, which would encourage you to constantly look for an alternative because you don't want to be demanding someone's exploitation, right? That's the point. So just because you have to in this one instance doesn't mean that you can't look at every other aspect of your life and make change in that you're not demanding someone be exploited for you.
Okay.
So do you think that you should do that?
I think that you hypothetically should. I think it's just almost impossible in actual practice of everyday
What if
life.
you were the one being oppressed? If the person that was using you knew that they did not need to use you, wouldn't you prefer that they stop?
Yeah, I mean, I have faced oppression, and yeah,
So
of course.
those individuals that you still have to demand, you should feel terrible that you're asking of them. You're taking their life. You're stealing from them. Yeah. And even in necessity, you should understand the morality of that. That's not moral, but in survival, it's justified, right?
Could I ask
You're
you,
I could justify unaliving a human baby out of survival.
could I ask you like a little counter question?
Sure.
Where were your headphones made?
These are Bose. They're vegan headphones.
I'm not the material, but where were they manufactured at?
I don't know, actually, probably China.
They were manufactured overseas by child laborers. Your phone has cobalt in the battery.
See. Now you're just doing a fallacy of hypocrisy.
No,
This is
there's
the
no. You're
fallacy
not.
of hypocrisy. You're not listening to what veganism is. I didn't demand that someone be enslaved. I demanded headphones. When you're not in necessity mode and you demand animal products, you are demanding oppression directly. You're saying, I want you to take this muscle off of their body. I'm saying, I want headphones. I don't want someone to be enslaved. You can make headphones without slavery. You can't make animal products without the oppression. That's the point. And how many times a day are you using animals versus how many times a day am I purchasing headphones? These are years old. Like at least 2 years. I have
Yeah,
my old phone is my camera. I don't know if you
it's
can
called
unmute.
a tu quoque fallacy.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing
Okay.
something, therefore it's justified.
Well, no. I'm not trying to make anyone a hypocrite. My question exactly stands the same
point
thing.
is, why, if you have choice, why are you still choosing that someone be oppressed for you?
Well, but that's my exact question. I'm trying to reciprocate to you. I'm not trying to make you a hypocrite, but it's just
I'm not a
pointing out.
hypocrite.
No, I'm not
Even
trying to.
if I
I know.
was,
That's what I'm
okay,
saying.
again, I want to be clear. Veganism has nothing to do with me and my choices. Veganism is a principled choice or principled stance, against the exploitation of sentient beings. So that
Yes.
just means the individual that is calling themselves vegan is saying, I don't want to demand someone else's oppression. That's what I'm saying. I'm not
Understand.
saying it's nothing to do with my other choices. Even if, let's say these were leather. Let's say I bought new leather headphones. Just because I'm a hypocrite doesn't mean that you can't learn from my mistakes and be better. Doesn't mean that you can't make better choices. So pointing at my flaws is really a coward move because you're not answering for your choices.
I've answered for my choices. I don't.
You haven't though, because you still think that animals are a resource to be used. You think it's okay.
I think it's part of life. Yeah, for a lot of people
It's
around the
not though.
world.
It's slavery. It's
It's
slavery.
not.
You're
It's slavery for
enslaving.
you and your situation. It's not
It's slavery
for a
for
lot
the
of.
animal. It's slavery for the animal, and you're demanding it. They're there because you're demanding it. When you are not in a survival situation and you're asking for animal products or you accept them, you're saying it's okay to use animals even when it's not in a necessary situation. You know, animals care what happens to them. They want to avoid harm. They do not want to be used. Okay, and remember, I said I could justify unaliving a baby in survival mode. Does that mean that when I'm out in abundance, when I have access to grocery stores, that I can demand babies be born into existence to continue making baby bacon because at some point in my life I had to survive on it?
No, yeah, as I stated before, I agree with you on that, and we are on the same
No,
page.
you didn't answer me though. Like, should I stop demanding babies be born so that I can eat them?
Yeah, you should stop demanding babies be born solely for the purpose
So
of
are
food.
you going to be vegan then when you're not on the reservation?
Honestly, no. Yeah, no. For
Why?
sure.
Why are you still allowing yourself to demand someone's oppression?
For the same reason you buy a phone, because sometimes it's just out of necessity.
You
said
no, I said not in necessity. Not in
everyday
necessity.
life, it becomes necessity for some people.
You're being a coward right now. You're being a coward. I'm saying that maybe you have to kick a dog to survive, but when you're not in survival mode, kicking a dog is immoral. Right? It's immoral to cause them unnecessary harm. When you're not in survival mode, you're demanding worse than kicking a dog. You're demanding someone have their life taken from them for your taste pleasure.
It's not taste pleasure. I've broken down a food thing for me. So that's
It's not survival. It's not
I
survival.
have a health condition. It is survival for me. For me, my body cannot break
So
down proteins.
if you didn't have this, you would
Then it
say
would be
yes, you should
yes.
be vegan.
But your question was me
So
specifically.
the
So I
point-
answered for me specifically. I'm not being rude.
No, what you're saying is because I have this one aspect of my life that I can't change, I can't do anything. That's what you're saying. You're literally using this as an excuse to continue perpetuating oppression instead of looking for an alternative. Like, instead of seeing this giant fire and saying, you know what, it's such a big fire, I'm just going to keep throwing matches in there. You should be looking for a bucket of water, right? There's an issue here. Someone is being violated. If you were the one being violated, wouldn't you want your oppressor to care that you suffer?
Where did Ozark go down?
I don't understand why you still think it's okay to use animals. Like, when you have the option. I don't understand.
I get
Yeah,
that.
Dominic.
Yes, Lori?
Here's the thing for you. Write it down. It's called Challenge 22.
Challenge 22.
Challenge22.com, yeah. And
.com.
they are they're nutritionists and dietitians that have over 8,000 hours of schooling. And they are vegan themselves, but they can help you. You go to WhatsApp and put it in there, and you go into a group, and then they'll give you a start date, and they can help you with what's going on with your body. And, you know, they might be able to help you set up a meal plan if you are serious. You know, and if they can work around your problems, they can give you ideas, and it's all free, and it's for 22 days.
It's all free? Sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Lori. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
and up above, Anna has nutritionfacts.org or the Vegan Daily Dozen. So you might want to try those out too.
Absolutely, we'll be checking those out for sure.
Cool. Do it and come back and tell us what happened.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely give that a try.
Well, it can't hurt.
Yeah, you know, it can't hurt at the end of the day. Of course, like I said, I never came on here to not be open to your points. I
get heated. I'll apologize for being heated, but if you think of it from this perspective, we're talking about someone's rights being violated. And when someone says, you know, it's okay to violate their rights, it gets frustrating. And so I might have been a little too quick to react to you. I understand that you're in kind of a rare situation that does need to be considered. But I just don't want you to think that that's just because those, you know, specific spots in your life are difficult obstacles. That doesn't mean you can't be against oppression. You can still, like, I'll give you another example. There are people that have to take medications that are life-saving, right? And a lot of those are tested on animals to the point where they perish or they suffer greatly and then perish. I am strongly against testing on animals as it is very inefficient. But if you're in a situation where you need to survive, I'm going to tell that person to take the medication, but advocate for those that you now have to oppress in order to stay alive, because that should be conflicting, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, as a native, like, we don't take joy in, like, the murder of animals. We understand, we think that all animals are spiritually connected with us. We do not kill something without sitting there for at least 30 minutes, thanking it for its sacrifice and praying for it. And we don't let anything ever suffer. We've had a cousin of mine let something suffer, and he was thrown in jail within, I think, like 3 hours. We do not tolerate it in the slightest, and I fully agree with you guys on that. But yeah, like I said, they just like certain scenarios, and a lot of people are in those kinds of scenarios, so it's kind of hard to just throw it under the bus when sometimes
it's still very valid even in your community, right? You're literally speaking how we're talking. We're saying if it's not necessity, you should not interfere with another sentient being. Right? That's all we're saying. And you shouldn't, in abundance, you shouldn't be trying to take down, you shouldn't use everyone that's available to you just because it's convenient. You know, you're saying that you recognize these individuals that you have to take down. You recognize that they're having an experience. You recognize that they're suffering, that they wanted to live, right? That should be a last resort. It shouldn't be something that you look forward to. When you're out in abundance, you should see the same thing. You should recognize, do I need this or can I eat something else? Do I need to demand that next animal go to that kill floor or, unaliving floor? Or should I eat the other thing, the beans, the rice?
You know, yeah, and I to be honest with you guys, before I was kind of more against your point. I'm fully with that now, especially if you do have the privilege, because it is a privilege to be able to self-sustain completely. If you have the privilege to sustain yourself, that's something you need to take.
If someone in your community wanted to live fully vegan, right? The fact that they are not able to is an injustice, really, right? They should have access. They should be able to choose what they eat in your community. That's not fair that they're I just want to make the point though that everyone should have access to healthy food, and I feel like that is another issue that needs to be addressed. We need everyone to have access to healthy food. That's only fair. Go ahead, Ozark.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, I just wanted to mention really quick too that animal consumption is actually disproportionate against or amongst wealthier populations. And I'm not referring to your specific circumstance because that's not inclusive in that. But like the poorest cultures around the world rely heavily on plant diets because they can't afford to consume animals. And a lot of the animals that are produced in their community are sold because of their value. So I'm not denying that any of us are in a privileged position because I know we are. But I do want to mention there's a big difference between being in a privileged position and exercising that privilege because you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of the point that I'm trying to agree with. Is like, yeah, if you have the means to, which, like as you said, it's just being privileged is nothing bad, bro. I mean, if you have a little bit of like a privilege in your life, as long as you take acceptance and are humble about it, it's nothing but greatness. And especially if you use that in a positive way, like you guys are saying, hey, like we have the money and the means to not have to do this, and we don't need to kill something to survive, so we're not going to kill something to survive. Yeah, all power to you for that.
To be clear, a lot of plant-based eating has actually come from poorer nations because animals are much more expensive to take care of. So a lot of the dishes that vegans eat came from poorer nations not using animals. So it's not exactly, I understand what you mean by privilege by having access to food, but it doesn't necessarily mean you need to be wealthy, is all I want to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like also like when I say privilege, I mean like also like location wise, like not just like your status, but like just the privilege of where you were born and where you live.
Sure, there are
That kind of
some
stuff.
people that live in a situation where they don't have access to full nutrition, and again, like I said, that's an injustice. I'm against that. I would prefer that as richer nations, we should make sure everybody has access to food within our nations, right? That's only fair.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that because someone who wants to be vegan should have that option as well. And those that are, and to add to that, because I think Ozark mentioned this, like we're seeing that eating more plants leads to longevity and higher quality living in those years. And to deny people access to those foods is even further of an injustice. So, yeah.
No, I can agree with that, especially as a native, for sure.
Most of the foods can reverse a lot of diseases too.
Yeah. But the point is most people have access to a grocery store or a farmer's market. They have access to beans, rice. They could feed themselves fully on a plant-based diet. That's what, if you look up the vegan Dailey Dozen, you can see what it is that it takes to eat the cheapest, considered one of the healthiest diets. It's just an easy checklist.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And you can see how cheap it can actually be.
Yeah, I'd love to take a peep at that.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'll let you go. I'll let you
I
go for now.
appreciate you
But
guys.
if you check out those resources, please come talk to us. I'd love to hear, any updates if anything's changed for you or not.
Yeah, for sure I will. I'll make sure to pop in. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming up, Dominic. You brought up
Yeah.
great questions. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
I'm terribly sorry for interrupting. It felt like
That's a good question.
You
Want anybody else up, Hannah?
I actually might call it here because we're at 12:30. I usually stop at noon, and I'm going to take a break. But I did want to. I did want to say, I was like, you didn't need to apologize. I felt everyone that interrupted, it was perfectly timed, and yeah, I'm okay with people interrupting each other. It's just if someone is obviously about to make a point, maybe don't interrupt them then. But that didn't happen today. I didn't feel that. So yeah, I thought it was all good. Anyway.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. I actually love having you guys because, you guys have an insight on the veganic farming perspective that other people don't have. So
yeah, for sure. I'll try to be more active. I've stayed away from, TikTok a lot lately just because of
I know. I get it.
stuff you can imagine. So
no, I get that. I get that. No, you guys are welcome up here. I really appreciate you being here. Did you guys want to say any last words before I end the live? I know Ben's been kind of quiet.
You guys all nailed it. It was a good live, I think.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Ben, I'm sorry you didn't get more opportunity to talk. Like, would you guys like it if I rotated, if I let somebody else start? I don't know if, or if you guys
I think
just like jumping in.
I think interjections are fine if everybody's comfortable with it. You know, if somebody interjects and like you said, hey, I want to finish, then that's fine, you know. But if somebody's willing to let somebody else come in if they have a point and they don't care to finish, then that's fine. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I agree. Like there's some topics, obviously farming and conservation hunting stuff that I feel a lot more comfortable arguing. So definitely happy to take those topics.
Awesome. Yes, you definitely, I remember that, yeah, you definitely deep dive into that, and that's such valuable information. Yeah. Okay. Lori, did you have anything to say? You want to say anything
No,
else?
I was just I'm gonna DM you later. Okay.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'd
yeah,
love
I
that.
had a great time. Thanks a lot for letting me help.
Hell yeah,
appreciate it.
appreciate you. Everyone go follow them.
Okay.
Go follow Ozark. Go follow Lori Light. Go follow, gotta get my tongue tied here. Go follow Ben the Vegan Farmer. All great animal rights activists. Please go check them out. They have great resources. I know you can't see Ben. You can't see Ben, but he's there.
Yeah, he's there. Okay, see you guys. Hopefully you'll be in use a chat in a while.
I'll try to be there too if I can.
Yeah, come over.
Yeah, because I really want to. Like last time I was like dying.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
You
Anyway.
can.
I couldn't
All
at the
right, I'll see
moment,
you
but
over there.
yeah, I'll see you guys
I'll
there.
see
Okay.
you over there. He
Everyone
goes
go check
listening
out
to
Universe.
Dorothy.
Everyone go check
Okay.
out Universe.
Okay.
Take care.
See you guys.
MCT oil, fruit and vegetables.